I'm joined by Kyle Balgames. Welcome, Kyle.
How are you?
Raja Suleiman with Orzhov.
Max McVitie.
Congratulations, Brian DeMars. Zach Allen.
I wouldn't be here without these guys, though. So.
And the champion of Pro Tour counter-attack here, Ari Lax.
Alright, welcome everybody to a modern video where I am playing Red-Black Goblins through it's a Pro Tour qualifier. It's a qualifier event for Pro Tour Zendikar Rising. It's like a Sunday PTQ, I guess you could say. It's a 240 person event on Magic Online, so these are usually full of very, very good players. And just kind of looking through the list, it does appear that there are a lot of well-known players here. A lot of players I respect. So it should be pretty tough. And we'll see what happens, but I have chosen to bring Red-Black Goblins. It has been the deck I've enjoyed the most playing recently. And I feel like it's really well positioned at the moment, outside of its pretty tough blue-red prowess matchup. So to combat the blue-red prowess matchup, I'm playing an extra chieftain today. Normally I just have one goblin chieftain. I've gone up to 2. I'm playing 3 sling gangs for a little bit extra life gain. And Mog, I didn't have Mog War Marshals in the recent list I'd played. I played it before. But I want it now that I have more sling gangs and chieftains because it's just really good with those 2 cards. I'm only playing 23 lands. I wish I could play 24, but I really wanted to make sure my goblin count was higher for my ringleaders. Especially because I have an extra ringleader in the sideboard. So, gonna be, and also Snoop. Just having a higher goblin count for Snoop is pretty important, I think. So, gonna be hoping my ringleaders hit because I've gone up on the goblins. I don't have as many 1-drops in this deck as I would like, which is actually a good reason to play another Mog War Marshal, or just two Mog War Marshals, specifically because. You take turn 1 off, you're kind of on the back foot sometimes, so having a nice defensive 2-drop to play is pretty good. I've got 2 Crater Makers to combat the Rise of Eldrazi. Only 2 Bogart Harbingers, which has been one of the controversial things about the list and the way I've been playing it. But I think the card's really bad outside of the fact that it combos with Snoop. So because I have 4 Goblin Matrons and the ability to find Harbingers, I don't like having a lot of this card. But I think that's fine. I only have 5 discard spells. I've liked 6 in the past, but again, I'm trying to keep my goblin count higher for my ringleaders. And that's going to be, I'm a land shorter than I would like to be, and a discard spell shorter than I'd like to be to just up the goblin count. So that means that I need to prioritize having a few extra lands in hand, with Mulligan Decisions, prioritize hands with Aether Vial, that type of thing. And also, I don't have a lot of good 1-mana plays. I have exactly 9. Tarfire is a good 1-mana play, but it's not a good turn 1 play generally, unless an opponent leads on a elf. That's pretty much the only thing I'm going to kill on turn 1 with the Tarfires. So maybe a Goblin God against Burn, that would be pretty nice. But I've seen a lot more blue-red prowess than Burn, and Tarfire is pretty inconsistent at killing their prowess 1-drops. So maybe I can make that work, but we'll find out. But yeah, the big tech today is 3 Sling Gang Lieutenants, so I think we'll see how that goes. But I've really liked how Sling Gang's played recently, so I've gone up from 2 to 3, a little bit extra life gain, a little bit extra go wide. It's a pretty defensive 4-drop, but it's also one of my combo pieces, so it's never too bad to have an extra 1 in the deck. And in the sideboard, I have 2 Damping Spheres, which I think is the worst card in the sideboard. I do it because Tron exists. But it's not that good. If I play against Big Tron, I'll be happy to have it, but I don't really bring it in anywhere else. I mean, I'd bring it in against Storm, maybe like Neo Brand, I guess. 3 relics. I would like a 4th, but just a little tight on space. I'm playing 3 push and 2 Warren Weirding, and that's again specifically almost for blue-red prowess. Just having enough ways to kill their creatures is really important. I've got 1 Unearth for Lightning Bolt decks, so that's going to be, again, blue-red prowess, but also the Gruul mid-range deck, Gruul Panza. I'm going to be happy to have Unearth there. If I play against any other, Shadow, any other decks like that, I'll be happy to have the Unearth. Jund, too, I'd also bring it in. So, basically any of the other black or red decks, I'd probably bring it in the Goblin's Mirror. It's really good in the deck. It's just not a Goblin, so it makes, your Ringleaders worse. I've got an extra Ringleader for when I need some value, and 2 Boils for all the blue decks. And with that, let's get started. Ooh, I'm playing against Anderson Leclerc, friend of my podcast, noted SCG player. I'm gonna be fully up front with the viewing audience here. I'm pretty sure, based on what I've seen him talking about on Twitter in the last 24 hours, that he's going to be playing some weird Sultai or Bant Nexus deck with Wilderness Reclamation and Nexus of Fate and a bunch of card draw. And they're going to have Uros, a lot of rampy blue value stuff, right? And let me talk to you about Boil for this matchup. Yeah, this deck doesn't want to play against Boil. I'll tell you that much. But Anderson is also a pretty big fan of Tron lands, so I would not be surprised if he, instead of registering the Bant deck he was talking about, if he played some Tron. We'll see what he actually ended up doing, but my guess at the moment is that I'm going to be playing against some Nexus of Fate, which, debatable how good that actually is against Goblins, because I'm about value on the board, not value in hand, which this style of deck is really all about beating. It's kind of a nightmare to play like a counterspell deck into a deck that has a bunch of instant speed threats and a bunch of instant speed good card draw and Factor Fiction or Gifts Ungiven, whatever they're using. I think Anderson will be playing Factor Fiction. So yeah, if I was playing blue-white Miracles like I have been playing in the past, I would be a little bit nervous about this matchup. From the Goblin side of things, I don't think they interact particularly well. They might have 4 paths, maybe. They probably have some counter spells, but they don't have as many as you probably need. And I'm a Cavern of Souls Aether Vial deck, which generally really good against those style of decks. Oh, this is awkward. This hand doesn't really start for a while, and I'm on the draw. If I had a black source, I would snap this off. If this hand had a black source, it would be very, very good. Given that I don't have a black source, and that I think Tarfire is going to be dead against almost no matter what he's playing, I think I'm free to mulligan. These 2 cards are great, and having this card's also great, but yeah, not being able to cast this I think is too bad. And this is a real shame because most of the lands in my deck cast Inquisition. I drew a few of the ones that didn't, but that is what it is. I'm going to go 6. Alright, and here we have a much better hand. I'm going to need to draw a land, and here is what I mean by I wanted a hand, or I wanted an extra land in my deck, but this is fine. I'm going to bottom the Munitions Expert. It's not going to be good for a while. I'll want to draw one later, but I have Matron to go find it again if I need it. And otherwise, with a land, this hand is just excellent. Thoughtseize into Matron, Chieftain, Sling Gang. So, alright. And he is playing a blue deck, which we thought might be the case. Land off the top here would be quite nice. Cavern of Souls. That's perfect. I don't have a 2-drop. So I am probably free to Thoughtseize next turn. That said, there's not a huge downside to doing it now, outside of paying extra life. You know what, given I don't have a 2-drop, I'm going to wait. I'm going to let him get an extra draw step. If I wait on the Thoughtseize, you just get more information. You get to plan out, you know, what their hand is doing a little bit better. And I think that's where I'm going to want to be here. Okay, still seems like some sort of Bant deck. The downside about waiting is now Anderson can have a mana leak up, but again, I'm not super concerned about this. This Cavern of Souls is really going to invalidate a lot of what this deck is doing. Alright. Could be a mana leak. No, just an Ice Fang. That's fine. Ice Fang's fine against me, but nothing spectacular. Okay, so Archmage's Charm is just a draw 2. It doesn't do anything else. Also, putting in the graveyard in this scenario is not great. Anderson does have a Growth Spiral, which is not bad. Force Negation does actual nothing against me. There's honestly an argument for him Force of Negation the Thoughtseize just because of how few targets it's going to have. Taking Uro out of the deck, out of his hand stinks because it just puts it in the graveyard ready to use. But I think generally that's going to be fine. Huh. Yeah, let's take the Growth Spiral. It's the cheap card. Kind of makes him cast Uro next turn. Uro is good against goblins, but it takes a while to get going. And when it is going, I get to have, you know, I can block it. It's not really pressuring my life total as much. Like, I'm not scared about it pressuring my life total, I guess I'll say. But it is the type of card that, you know, while it doesn't pressure my life total, it will make, you know, it puts pressure on me to start ending the game because it just is going to draw them a bunch of cards, gain them a bunch of life. So it's still this inevitability factor, even though I'm going to have a bunch of 1/1s to chump it with for a bunch of turns. Okay, so we know Anderson's hand has a Mystic Sanctuary, an Archmage's Charm, and a Force Negation in it. We know this to be factual. Alright, another land here would be quite nice. Okay, Crater Maker is not really what I'm looking for. But that's alright. I'm going to go ahead and put my Chieftain in play. I get 2 points of damage in. I could Matron, but again, I want to save my Tutor for when I know what I'm looking for. And this just lets me, if I draw a land, this lets me go Matron into Sling Gang, which is just, or Chieftain into Sling Gang, which is just very strong. So we'll see how that goes. Yep. Okay. Anderson's going to be able to bring back Uro here, which is quite annoying. It's a turn 4 Uro for the deck, which fetch lands really make this Uro card a little much, but it is what it is. I really need to draw a land here. And again, cutting that 24th land hurts, but the card I cut it for was the Mogg War Marshal. And we haven't drawn that, so it's not like I would have drawn specifically the 24th land, if that makes sense. But still wish I had an extra land right now for this draw step. Alright, we whiffed, which is not great. What's the best play I can make here? I probably need to just put my Matron in play. Let's start thinning the deck of goblins, so I'm a little more likely to draw lands. Munitions Expert, probably not going to take out the Uro for quite some time. I don't hate just getting a Mogg War Marshal here, like just getting a cheap one. Alternatively, I could just get a Tar Fire to just take care of this Codal, but that plays into the Force Negation in hand. I think the play here is just get a War Marshal. Yeah, if I had to guess, I would say it's a good spot for a War Marshal. But the War Marshal is going to buy me some time against this Uro. I mean, not a lot of time. This thing's drawing a card every turn, putting lands in play, which is tough. That's bad for me for sure. Alright. Wants to sink back his Archmage's Charm. I get it. I don't love it, but I do get it. Yeah, I'm not going to block here. I think I'm down. I'm fine to go to 10. I'll start getting a little more nervous. The next time it attacks, I may block. Alright, no land there still is pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. Racing an Uro is essentially impossible, but I mean, I don't really have a better plan here, so I think we're going to try it. I'm going to get this Ice Fang off the table because I need to start attacking. What I really need is to get the Sling Gang in play. If I had the Sling Gang, I would feel pretty good about where we're at. Given that I don't feel really good about where we're at, but such is life. Yeah. Alright, Anderson's thinking about it. This feels to me like he has a Cryptic Command, which, you know, is going to be tough for us to beat game 1. Really, the play is Sling Gang and my combo beats it, but I don't have that right now, so. And this isn't great. If he has another Codal. Okay, well, this is not actually that bad for me. I wanted the land anyway. And I'll be happy to attack with the Matron here. So I know he's drawing Archmage's Charm for the turn, which is just going to be more draws. I'm going to go down to 4 here. I'll be happy about it. Not happy, but I will go down to 4. This Uro is just really tough, and I just don't have a good answer this game 1, so it is what it is. Yeah. Definitely tough. Okay, well now we have a land, which isn't bad. I do think I need to get this Sling Gang in play, though. I don't think I can win. I have put myself into a spot that's too vulnerable to Cryptic Command, so I just need to put this in. I needed it earlier, if we're being honest, but, I mean, here we are. Just going to path Sling Gang with it on the stack. So now I do die the Cryptic unless I sack all 3 Goblins, which is not something I really want to do. I think I have to play around them not having Cryptic, which pretty unlikely, honestly, but it's what I have to do. So I'm just going to let this resolve. Yeah, and just get another land. If they don't have Cryptic, I have a shot. If they do have Cryptic, I'm going to die. But I'm far enough behind here. My draw is awkward enough that it's just the play I need to make. If that makes sense. Okay, he has the Cryptic Command. You know, I mean, that's fine. He was on the play. I mulliganed. Had a somewhat awkward hand. He had a really good hand for that deck. Turn 2 Codal, turn 4 Uro. You know, that happens. It's fine, though. Let's get these Tar Fires out of the deck. Let's bring in Boils instead. I would like another Ringleader, and I like my Relics, actually. Don't think this is a very good matchup for Crater Maker. And I don't really want to try comboing very much. I'm going to leave in 1 Harbinger. I'm also going to cut... Kind kind of like the Inquisition. Maybe I'll just bring in 2 relics. No, I want all 3 against an Uro Mystic Sanctuary deck, I think. Maybe this isn't just a great matchup for Sling Gang. I'll go down to Sling Gang. I'm a little 4 heavy with the way I've built my sideboard, post board against blue decks. Sling Gang's good, but I don't think I need the 3rd copy here. The 3rd copy is really for aggressive decks, and this deck, despite getting aggroed out by Uro, is not particularly aggressive. Right now, this hand is actually excellent. Well, excellence may be a stretch, but turn 1 Vial, I've got the Relic to slow down the Uros and the Mystic Sanctuaries. I've got a Snoop, which is, you know, one of the better value cards in the deck, I guess you'll say. And I don't think his deck is particularly good at answering Snoop. He probably has 4 paths and then maybe like 2 purges and 2 gusts out of the board, but Gust isn't necessarily going to do it, so I think we're going to be okay. Alright. I'm going to yield to the Vial. I would like to tick it up. Ooh, Mog War Marshal. That's very good. I think I am not under a lot of pressure to start using the Relic yet. And also, if I draw another land, it'll be fine to use it there. I actually think there's a pretty decent chance I'm just going to pay for the War Marshal here. So let's do that. We already have black, so getting another black source doesn't do all that much for me. Yeah, and now I could pay for the War Marshal. I still might not. There's not, you know, like against a Path to Exile deck, there's not like the big incentive that you would have against some of the other decks. But I think it's fine. So I want to put the Echo on the stack first, and then the Aether Vial. I'd like to take the Aether Vial up, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get some more information on whether I want to pay by putting in the Snoop and seeing what I'm going to draw. So I'm drawing a Ringleader, which makes me not want to pay because now I want to cycle to hit some lands. I want to get this Relic in play. Basically, is where I'm at. Okay. That is a land. I could cycle to draw it so that I have a chance. So that I get a chance to play the Ringleader next turn, but I don't even necessarily want to hardcast it. I'd rather tick my Vial up to 4. And I kind of like the Relic. Alright. Yeah, I'm not going to draw it. No, actually... No, I need to make my land drops. I am going to do it. This stinks because the Relic is really good against his deck, but... Okay, Thoughtseize is even better. I'll take a Thoughtseize. I will take a Thoughtseize all day. And Anderson looks like he's having some color issues. Now, I do think there's a chance my Aether Vial is going to get Archmage Charmed here, which is kind of unfortunate. But it is, you know, it is what it is. So let's Thoughtseize. I think this is where he steals... No, he's just countering the Thoughtseize. Interesting. Okay. I'm fine with that. Oh, I want to attack with all. Get in there, fellas. Go, my Gobbo children. Is it... Okay, Wilderness Wreck. That is a card. That is certainly a card. Alright, so we are going to tick up the Vial. Ooh, we got another Relic on top. I would love to draw that at the moment, but nothing about what I'm doing this turn is going to let me do so. So I think the play here is to start by fetching. I already have enough black, and this isn't a deck that really punishes me for basics. It is a deck that plays Path, though, so leaving 3 basics in could be valuable. My life total is under absolutely no pressure at the exact moment, so I think Shocking is acceptable. There we go, and now we have a Sling Gang on top, which is pretty strong. I'm going to go ahead and get my value right now and just cast the Sling Gang. I imagine this is going to get countered. Remand. Oh, that's insane. All right, then. Well, I would like to actually draw this Thoughtseize. Yeah, I think that's fine. Now I just have a Slinging in my hand for 4. That's incredible. That was about as good as that turn could have gone for me. Yeah, this feels like a Kodal coming in, and he's going to trade with my Snoop, but again, that's fine. I have a lot. I'm going to put the Slinging in here. I think the Drain is actually worth it. Opponent's getting kind of low, so I like getting the Drain in here. I mean, they are starting to get to a spot where, like, you know, I can kill the Ice Fang next turn with the Munitions Expert, and then, you know, I get to go Thoughtseize, Munitions Expert, Violent Ringleader, and just start getting a bunch of value. And, you know, we have 5 Goblins, so opponent is sitting at a virtual 4 right now. Okay, the path does change it. Do I want the land or the Drain? That's a tough call. I think I'd rather have the Drain based on the fact that I'm drawing Thoughtseize, which I think is going to be good here. So I'm going to drain him here. Get a nice little drain. Rather get some chip damage in. We got a lot of chip damage coming, which I think is good. Alright, we're casting a main phase Foff. I think I like giving him... I want to split the path and the verdict in different piles. So I think lands versus this. And I think he's pretty incentivized to take the verdict here. He did. He took the verdict here. But I'm drawing Thoughtseize, which he may or may not remember, so I can take the verdict out of their hand right now. I mean, certainly Anderson could have a counterspell for my Thoughtseize. I would not doubt that at all. But it's okay. So Thoughtseize here. Oh, alright. So his hand is Growth Spiral, 4 lands, Verdict. So their hand's really bad. The awkward thing is that if I take the verdict, he can still Growth Spiral and put it on top and draw it. But I think that I'm just fine with him doing that. Like, I kind of want him to just have to draw it and then use the verdict again. So I'm going to take the verdict. Seems pretty simple to me. I'm going to go ahead and put my Ringleader in play. It's time to get some values. I can do a lot of damage to Anderson right here, which is pretty nice. He's just basically dead to my other Sling Gang. Oh, or this Ringleader. Or this Matron. It all basically is going to kill him here, so that's good. Get to Munitions Expert, the Kodal, and then Bash. He's going to go to 2. And I have a really hard time seeing him survive the next turn if he has to tap a lot for a verdict, because that means he's probably not Urowing. Although if he did draw Uro, he could cast the front half. He will be able to do that and still verdict. But yeah, I don't know. I just have Matron for my other Sling Gang here, and the Vial off the Sling Gang. Like, there's just too much pressure. I've got a hasty Ringleader. I'd be very impressed if he found a way out of this, which is possible, but like, again, he doesn't even have a second white, so he's gonna have to fetch, putting him down to 1. So just getting a Sling Gang is gonna be lethal. Okay, the Kodal doesn't do anything. It's just a redraw because he asked the verdict. I mean, it's not a bad redraw. Like, you just keep cycling through your deck, but yeah, I don't think it's particularly good here. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the ways you invalidate Kodal, right? If I had a bunch of, like, really good good like 3-mana creatures that I was counting a ton on. You know, they're like 3-mana 7/7s I invested in for like the power, like a Rotting Regisaur, say. Ice Fang would just embarrass that. But a 3-mana 1/1 that tutored for a card I care more about, or a 4-mana 2/2 that drew me 2 or 3 cards, like yeah, that's where you want to be against those types of cards, is just the value 2 drops, the value 3 drops that you're just fine trading with. So yeah. Yeah, I don't really want to change anything. I'm feeling this hand's gonna contain a boil. And we're gonna let Anderson know what happens to island players against goblins. Stuff gets hot quick. Real quick. Alright, doesn't have a boil. But having said that, I mean, I have a 1, 2, 3, 4 curve with perfect mana, perfect painless mana. I'm just never mulliganing this hand. We actually even have combo potential with Snoop into Matron, which his deck may or may not, his draw may or may not be able to cope with. We'll see. Ooh, I even have 2 Snoops. That's really good. Alright, I'm going to lead on Blackleaf. If you have both Blackleaf and Hovel, it's slightly better to lead on Blackleaf, because this starts coming into play tapped quicker than this one will, because I just have a ton of goblins to reveal. Ooh. Anderson's fetching. Does he have like a Flusterstorm? No, okay, just fetching a tap land. Fair enough. Alright, having 2 Uros is not great for him here. I think this is a pretty easy spot to just make sure he doesn't have a 2-drop. I mean, he could draw a 2-drop, right? But the way his hand's set up, he's just going to do nothing this turn unless he draws specifically a 2-mana play. And then the next turn, he's also kind of doing nothing. And this is going to make him really weak to the combo. Oh, and we drew a Relic. Relic's insane. Alright, I'm going to play Hovel now, reveal the Snoop, and put the Snoop in play. And now, Anderson's just... I mean, he's in a lot of pressure. He's under a lot of pressure from this combo. He's going to need to find something for it really quick. And he's Uroing here. And we also know most of his hand. He's also not particularly close to bringing Uro back. So, there's that. Oh, maybe he's got the path. We shocking? Main phase path. Oh, deal. I like this. I like this quite a bit. I guess I already have a mountain. Getting the swamps, good. But I already have 2 black sources too. I'm just going to get another mountain because I do have double red from Snoop. So I think this is a pretty easy... I'm going to lead on Snoop. And I want to get the Relic in because I don't want to let him get an Uro in play. I think the way we lose is him getting an Uro in play. So I'm going to immediately play the Relic. Start making him exile from his graveyard. And if he gets enough in there to be able to bring back the other stuff, like if he fetches here and puts a Mystic Sanctuary in play. Okay. Wreck is fine. He hasn't really made more progress. Ooh, another Sling Gang. So he's starting to get pretty far away from the Uro. I mean, like a Fact or Fiction would get him there. So there is a chance I'm supposed to Matron. I don't hate Matroning. Just so I can leave up the pop in case he has a Fact or Fiction here. The pop of the Relic. This lane coming to play tapped here really stinks. That is not what I want. It's hard to turn down the value, too. I think I'm going to Matron. I like keeping combo pressure on him. I think that's where I want to be. I don't really want to draw the Sling Gang. I already have 2 4-drops in my hand. Just casting it would have been nice. But I think where I'm at is fine. Alright, I'm going to get my Harbinger. I want combo pressure on Andy here. Ooh, we got a Chieftain. Chieftain's going to be a good draw. Quite a good draw. I'm not attacking here. His life total is still fairly high. The 2 damage won't matter. I'm not exposing Snoop to an Ice Fang, which I would expose, right? Because he could easily fetch a Snow-Covered Island or a Snow-Covered Plains here. That's 3 snow permanents. And, yeah. Okay, and he's targeting the path. Alright, this is where we pop the relic. Just get to draw my card. Yep, perfect. I have a land. Now his hand is Uro and a card I don't know about. I get to play my land next turn, which is great. So I can go 2/3 drops. Is this another Wilderness Reclamation? 5 mana? Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Okay. I would assume this is a tuck. Yep, it is a tuck. That's fine. So now his hand is just another Uro. And I get to kill this Teferi, because I know his hand is just Uro, so he can't interact with me at all. Yeah. The question is, I mean, I'm not Harbingering. The question is, do I want to put in Slinging or Ringleader? I think Ringleader is going to be better, because then I can also just still play the Snoop. Yeah, let's do that. And now we just still have combo pressure on Andy for next turn, which I like. Oh, well, the only card I hit was a Snoop, but at least I hit a Snoop. Alright, so let's go to combat. I'm going to send Matron at Teferi, Ringleader at Andy. And again, put some combo pressure on him. Alright, drawing a land is good, actually. Because now I can go Sling Gang plus Harbinger. Yeah, he's definitely going to lead off with a Zero. That makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's just the best play, but he can't bring it back, so it's just 1 redraw. And look, now he has 2 cards in hand. Oh, 1 card in hand we don't know about. Certainly, like a Nexus of Fate would be really bad here if he drew Nexus, but he didn't have Nexus, so that's good for me. Ooh, Path. I think that's fine. I kind of want to draw this untapped land, but I get another draw step. Yeah, okay. I'm going to let Path happen. I guess I do get the Swamp now. I just have 6 red sources. Just not really a huge reason not to. Ooh, 2 Chieftains is kind of a lot. And Andy's empty-handed, so he could get back this Path if he wanted to, but if he draws Path for turn, I think he dies. Yeah. So I think the play here is 1 Chieftain plus Harbinger. You know what? I kind of want to just bash. This is just so much damage. No. Harbinger lets me get another Ringleader, which is kind of where I want to be, and draw Ringleader for turn, and then next turn I can go Chieftain plus Ringleader as a pretty strong play. I think I'm going to play the Harbinger. It's definitely less damage. I mean, this is worth 6 points of damage. Did I miss lethal? 3, 7, 13. No, it's only 13. So I didn't miss lethal. But I am setting up to lethal him next turn, so that's good. And I'm definitely getting a Ringleader here. I think that's easy. I could also get Snoop. Snoop's not terrible. But now I actually just can't combo, so Snoop's a lot worse than than you would think. I have no ability to combo anymore. But, I mean, Sling Gang plus Chieftain next turn is so much damage, and I can sack all the goblins to just kill him. I mean, yeah, and he can't really... It's not super likely he can bring back Uro this turn, and even if he does... It's not clear that that saves him. Yeah, alright. Goblins gets there. Way to go, Gobos. Yeah, I mean, he was in a tough spot. You know, and that's that really is a good example of how Goblins plays against a lot of these decks. Is I'm putting combo pressure on him most of the game. You saw that he was going out of his way, like 5 mana to fairy, tuck your conspicuous Snoop, right? And I can just ringleader get it back. And Snoop, I didn't get value in it that game, but you saw I had the turn where I could have put the Slinging in play, which would have been insane, right? Just draw a 4 mana card for free, cast it off the top of your deck. That would have been great. But I think, I think we made the right play there, right? Just making sure he never got his engine going, didn't let him put an Uro in play. And yeah, I think that worked out really well. So yeah, and that's a lot of how the deck plays, right? I'm putting combo pressure on them. They're going out of the, and it doesn't even matter what the opponent is. The opponent's going out of their way to stop the combo, and then they end up losing to mediocre beats and like a Sling Gang plus a Chieftain, which is just the real way Goblins wins most of its games, I guess I'd say. All right, everyone, we're back. Currently, 256 players in the event total. I'm sitting in 103rd place after that first win. Placing this early in an event doesn't really matter. The more important thing is that you're 1-0. I believe 256 players is 8 rounds. I think it's 8 rounds. We might have just crossed in a 9. I think this would be 8 rounds in a paper event, but I think it actually is 9 on Magic Online, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah. No. Yeah, it's a 9 round event, so we got a lot of MTG to play today. That's fine. It's fine. I'm happy to play some MTG. It's a good day for it. But in an event this big, wins come at a premium. You really, we're cutting from 256 down to 8. Because it's actually on the smaller end of 9, I think 2 losses can get you into top 8. I think you're locked if you only lose once. And if you're at 2 losses, you need your losses to come later in the event so you have good tiebreakers. All right, I'm playing against Abyss Bochi. I do not know this player. I have no prior history with them. And this hand is also pretty bad. Got 3 4-drops and no red mana. Just 1 swamp. I think this is an easy mulligan. Not even really that much to think about. I have lost the die roll again, which is unfortunate. We're 0 for 2 on the die rolls, but not the biggest of deals. There are points in Modern's history where it really mattered. I think this is not as much one of them, although Goblins is still definitely a deck that likes to be on the play. Especially, if you can go turn 1 Vial on the play, that's just, that's really powerful. You just start having a lot more mana than your opponent really quickly. But opponent's also mulliganed here, so I don't feel bad about clicking that mull button. And this hand's pretty good. I've got the Ringleader to, recuperate some card advantage. It is awkward that Munitions Expert on 2 is not going to be particularly good, unfortunately. And there's actually a chance I just don't even play it on 2. I'm going to keep this. The interesting thing is, should I bottom the Munitions Expert and just make sure I have 4 lands for this Ringleader? I think that's not as crazy as it sounds to just go Thoughtseize into Ringleader. The Munitions Expert is just not going to be all that good. That said, I think I'm going to bottom the Mountain because it's pretty likely that I draw a land somewhere in the next 4 draw steps. And once I get to 4, I'm pretty happy. All right, playing against Shadow. I think Shadow's a decent matchup, especially if I can Thoughtseize their first threat. That's generally pretty good against me, or pretty good against Shadow. Apologies. And we drew the land, so happy with the play I made there. The Munitions Expert is pretty bad against Shadow, so that's awkward, but it's fine. Ooh, they have a stub. Man, getting anything stubbed in this deck is tough, because you just don't have very many targets for stubs, so letting them convert their Stubborn Denial into a full card is pretty annoying, and yeah, I got stubbed. I guess it's a reason to wait. That said, I was going to play the Blood Crypt tapped, so it's fine. Yeah, the stub was going to convert next turn anyway. They might have like tapped out here for something, but yeah, I think the stub was going to convert anyway. So, not super concerned. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough spot for me here if they play a Shadow. Okay, they don't have a threat yet, though, and they would have... I think they would have played Shadow there. Maybe they don't because of Tarfire, but I would assume they would have played a Shadow there. Yeah. Well, this Munitions Expert's not good. I think I'm just going to put the Blood Crypt into play tapped and just keep waiting. Waiting game is good for me against Shadow. Just developing my mana, letting me start flooding the board. This deck does not cope particularly well with a really flooded board of creatures. They have some premium removal spells for good creatures, like Fatal Push and Dismember, and those are great for them. But they don't have the removal spells like main deck that would require to beat value cards like this. So we'll see how that goes. This Thoughtseize is really bad for me. I really wanted that Ringleader. That said, opponent is missing their land drop here on 4 cards and no plays. So Shadow without a threat still is good for me. Looks like that Aquaman. Oh, this is perfect. Now I get to Thoughtseize them, hopefully take their threat. I can pay for stub now, and I will if they do stub here. I would like to take... I assume they have a Gurmag Angler in their hand. I'm pretty likely to take that. No, they have a Shadow, and they were waiting on the Shadow. Interesting. Okay, well, easy take the Shadow here, I think. And now they just have 2 removal spells and a Stubborn Denial that's unlikely to do anything else the rest of the game. You know, I think there's a world here where I just flash in a Munitions Expert and start attacking. It's not ideal. Like, certainly, I would not say that's what I want to be doing, but I've also just... okay. They drew Thought Scour, milled another Shadow, so that's 2 Shadows down for us, and played their land. So we know their hand is Stub, Fatal Push, Dismember. I could play this Munitions Expert. I think it's almost 100% to get pushed or dismembered, and I don't love that. That said, it's pretty unlikely to ever do anything. I think I'm going to put it out here and just let them push or dismember it. I like to just start working on their life total. Nope, I don't want to kill my own Munitions Expert. Yeah, it's kind of awkward because obviously, like, they can just kill this anytime they want, and it's not pecking in for that much damage. But yeah, like here I get to play a Harbinger. We're going to put a Ringleader on top of our library, which they can't Thoughtseize. And then I get to cast the Ringleader next turn. There's also an argument here for getting Sling Gang. I think that would be a totally reasonable play. It makes my Munitions Expert actually hit a Gurmag Angler. That said, I don't think that's really where I want to be. I think it's just much better to get Ringleader. That pressures their life total. It draws more cards. They can't Thoughtseize it because it's sitting on top of my library. They could Thought Scour me if they drew Thought Scour, but again, that's pretty niche. And they would have to draw it this turn. So I'm fine with it if that's the route this game takes. Yeah, I'm gonna get this Ringleader. I would like to Ringlead next turn and hopefully hit some Gobos. We'd like to hit some Gobos. Yeah, I do think they're going to push my Harbinger here, which they kind of need to do here just based on their hand. Yep, they do. So now they're on Dismember Stub. If they drew a threat here, that'd be bad for me, but their threats don't have Trample naturally, and they don't have a Battle Rage yet, so they kind of have to go Runner, Threat, Battle Rage to really have a chance here. And they drew Island, so yeah, I mean... this is looking quite good for me. If my Ringleader hits, I don't think I can lose. Obviously, it needs to hit, but if that does happen, I believe I'm in a really good spot. I'm very likely to get at least 1. Okay, it's about the worst one, but I did get rid of 2 lands and a Vial that I didn't really want to draw at this point, so that's fine. And now opponent's going to go down to 6 life. I assume they're going to dismember the Ringleader here. But I'm actually in a spot now where I could kill a Gurmag Angler, and they can't use the stub to protect it. I'm not going to be able to kill a Shadow, but I can kill the Gurmag Angler, so that's good. And they can't mess with the Munitions Expert anymore because the stub just doesn't do anything against these two cards. And if they had a, if they drew a removal spell, okay. So I can't kill this Shadow yet, although if I drew a Goblin this turn, I would have outs to killing it. Ooh, the Snoop Man. Like that. Like drawing the Snoop Man there. Oh, well. Now we just have combo next turn. Alright. Fair enough. So, opponent gets one draw step, or they're just dead. Yeah, I mean, they need to draw a good one here. Battle Rage does not kill me. Oh, so they have Bobble. So, yeah, I mean, they have to draw instant speed removal spell now. It's their only out. I guess Thought Scour does somewhat save them. But, yeah. Not all that concerned. And actually, I think you can make a reasonable argument that the safer play here than going for combo is to just kill this Shadow, which I can do with both my Munitions Expert, and I can make sure that it happens by doing it with the Mishra's Bobble draw trigger on the stack, because I know their hand is just Stubborn Denial, so they can't pay any life on anything to make it bigger. They just can't really do anything. And then opponent just has to kill a bunch of 1/1s, and they just aren't going to have time to do that. I mean, the attack next turn is putting them down to 3. We're going to have 4 creatures in play. Yeah. I think this is going to be the safer play. Again, I can combo here. And if they don't, it's pretty likely the combo works because they just have one blind draw step. That's all they have. But I think the safer play is just make sure Shadow doesn't have threats because their deck is just anemic without a threat in play. So I think that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop on my upkeep with their draw trigger on the stack. I am going to just kill the Shadow. So the correct play here, I know it's going to work, but the correct play here is to technically respond to the Munitions Expert trigger by playing the second Munitions Expert. That way they each deal 4 damage, because it counts Goblins in play at time of resolution. So I'll deal 8 damage to it. The 7 damage would still kill. So again, it's a small thing, it doesn't actually matter. But no reason not to just make the technically correct play. It's not going to hurt me. And here, this is what we were talking about last round, where now I'm putting combo pressure on the opponent and life total pressure on the opponent. I'm attacking them from too many angles. So I don't think they're going to have a way to beat this. And, if they drew a push here to kill the Snoop and stop me from damaging them, then the combo wouldn't have worked anyway. And going for the combo and getting blown out is pretty bad. It's definitely not good. Okay, see, they drew a Snapcaster Mage. So they had the out, they drew the out, and our combo would have been blown out. So, Thought Scour. Interesting. I guess they just need to get some value here. That makes some sense to me. Yeah, I mean, they drew the way to stop the combo, which, they don't have very many ways to do that, but they did draw it. And I'm happy we played around it the way we did. Yeah. I think that was pretty good for me. Again, we're putting a lot of life total pressure on them, though. They still don't have a threat. That's 3 shadows out of their deck, so the only thing we're really concerned about is Angler. And they milled another Thoughtseize, so they probably don't have a lot of discard spells. This feels like an Angler. But Angler, isn't killing me here. Even with the Battle Rage, it only deals 10. I'm at 11. And we're going to put a Sling Gang on top of the library. I mean, that's what we're going to do. Okay. I'm not going to reveal a Goblin, no reason. I can only cast this one. I could have also revealed the Goblin. It just doesn't matter. My opponent knows I have no cards in hand, so it's not going to change anything. But yeah, we're going to put Sling Gang on top. We got a bunch of blockers here. We got a burn spell essentially on top of the library that's just lethal. As soon as it hits play, they're dead to this. Yep, okay. Opponents conceded. They saw the light, and I think that was a really... I mean, that was a really interesting spot there where... You know, we had the combo. It looked like opponent had no cards in hand that interacted with it, but they had a blind draw step. And when we're that far ahead, playing around your out the way or playing around the opponent's outs the way I did, I think is just the right way to go about it. Okay, so Tarfire stinks in this matchup, and I think comboing is going to be near impossible. I do like War and Weirding and Fatal Push quite a bit, though. I also like Unearth. Yeah, those all seem quite good to me. Munitions Expert's okay. This is not a very good Crater Maker matchup. I'm going to cut the Crater Man. I also don't love Kiki Jiki. Kiki's okay, but dying to K command for your 5-drop dying to K command is pretty bad. I think I don't really love Ink. I think cutting down to just 4 Thoughtseize is going to be fine. I could leave Ink in. I think I want to just go down to 4 Thoughtseize though. Maybe I just go 2 pushes. Nah, 3 pushes is probably right. I think there's definitely an argument for bringing in Relic, and you could convince me that Relic is better than Aether Vial. Aether Vial, you know, just gets K commanded. It's gonna get Thoughtseized a lot of the time. I have 27 mana sources, quote unquote, in the deck right now, and on the draw, Aether Vial's a little slow. I'm just gonna go in for Relics. Relic is pretty good against their deck. They have Snapcaster. They're playing Thought Scour for Gurmag Angler. It's a redraw when I top deck it late, which is better than Aether Vial, because drawing a late Aether Vial can be pretty backbreaking. And it lets me leave my Goblin count higher. Also, like, yeah, I only have 23 lands, but I'm on the draw, so I'm pretty likely to hit my lands. And Relic cycles, so it helps you hit your lands, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I like boarding like this. One Kiki's kind of awkward because the combo doesn't work if I draw it, but that's fine. Again, we said it was pretty unlikely I'd be able to combo anyway. All right, now this is a very good hand. I've got turn 1 interaction. I can cycle an Earth if I want to. If opponent Thoughtseizes me and takes, or Inquisitions me and takes my Chieftain, which they almost certainly will not do, but if they did, I could unearth it back and just get in for 2, send a message. But Sling Gang, I think, is probably one of my best cards in this matchup. It's just going to be very good against Goblin or Shadow. And the Shadow player's on 6 here, so we get to start the game up 2 cards, which is pretty good because Shadow operates on a bunch of 1-for-1 trades. It's not like a 1-for-1 trade and grind you out style deck. It's like a 1-for-1 trade with your important cards, I guess you'd say, and then kill you with a big creature plus Temur Battle Rage style deck. So it's kind of like it's more like a combo deck, I guess you'd say. It's an interesting combo deck in that it gets this opportunity to play a fair game, right, where you could just be a fair deck. But in my experience, the deck's not very good at doing that. It just has the ability to do that, if that makes sense. So yeah, not super scared of not super scared of a Shadow player here trying to 1-for-1 me. And they actually mulligan to 5. So, again, they're just going to be wholly reliant on comboing. I mean, I think that's really their only way out here. And I do expect them to Thoughtseize me or Inquisition me here. That seems like the kind of card you would take. That said, they can't take my Chieftain, and Chieftain's a good card in the matchup, so I like that. I think they're 100% to take my Thoughtseize, which is fine. That's fine. But this is why I boarded the Unearth in, because I'm going to put the Chieftain in play. They need to kill it, because Chieftain plus Sling Gang is just so much damage. And when they kill it, I just get to bring it back with Unearth. And so I mean, this just makes 6 power, and when they kill one of the tokens or the Sling Gang, it drains them. So it's like, you know, this into this it's a lot of damage. It's like a pseudo 9 power thing. And that's actually, if you've been following along with how I've played, or how I've been playing this deck for a little bit now, maybe a week, 2 weeks, something like that. It started kind of more as I had a lot of one-ofs, a lot of stuff that tutor for, and that I think was the right thing to do early in the format, where I'm trying to figure out the deck, figure out what cards are good against what matchups, you know, how you play X matchup, whatever it is, right? And now I've kind of figured out the thing I want is, you know, I have less tutor targets, less situational goblins, and I think the good ones, you know, I'm up to 3 Sling Gang, up to 2 Chieftain. I could honestly see playing a 3rd Chieftain. Chieftain has been really strong in this deck. I would be happy to put a 3rd one in, honestly. The list is a little tight, so I'd have to make room for it, but I could definitely see playing a 3rd Chieftain. So we might go that route. We'll see. I'm happy with 2 and an Unearth now. So kind of like 2.5. Alright, these have not been particularly good draw steps, although I was a little worried about not hitting my lands, so that's fine. I might cycle the Unearth here. Ooh, now that we've seen Cling to Dust, I think I kind of want to cycle the Unearth. They're not really going to be able to cling it. Like flash it back, just because it's 4 mana. Not because they don't have the graveyard resources, they certainly do. But they're just so far away from flashing it back. But also, like, I don't know. No, the Unearth here is probably fine. It's going to be good at some point. I actually have plays lined up for the next 2 turns. So, yeah, from that perspective, I think it's fine to just have just keep the Unearth for a little bit. Watch them kill the Chieftain. That's fine. They actually can't even use Fatal Push right here unless they drew another fetch land. Bobble would... They didn't draw fetch land. Bobble would also let them do it. But, okay. If they have a Gurmag... Nope, they milled the Gurmag. That's really unfortunate for the opponent. It's a pretty unlucky thing. So they can dismember Chieftain here. Okay. And War Marshal's actually just a really good draw. I think there's actually a chance I'm supposed to play the War Marshal. But I'm not going to. I want to put the Chieftain in play. If opponent wants to kill the Chieftain again, I have my Unearth to just bring it back. So I am attacking them down to 13. 13 is actually, like, if they were at 14, I would consider not doing it to stop them from putting Shadow into play. But going to 13 means they have to pay life to turn it on anyway. And yeah, if it was a fetch land, they would have been able to do that already. Right? So I think this is fine. Yeah, and this is just going to be... I mean, this is just bad for the opponent. I get to go Sling Gang here. It's just a ton of hasty power. Ooh, well, I think that changes things. I'm actually going to play the Relic here. It turns off all Gurmag Angler draws, and if they had a Shadow, they would have played it. It also gets rid of the Cling to Dust, which is small but relevant. Yeah, so I think this is fine. Let's me get a nice redraw in. It leaves my Unearth up. If they kill the Chieftain here, that's fine. I think they probably will, if I'm being honest. And then that kind of turns off my Unearth, but Mog War Marshal and Unearth is actually a pretty good combo, believe it or not. You just kind of sack it, and then I get it back, so it's just, this is, 1 mana for 2 goblins, which, in terms of modern cards isn't necessarily a great deal, but in the Goblins deck it is a pretty good deal. So we'll see how that goes. Man, opponent's really in the tank here. Interesting to see what they do. Okay, they just let it happen. I am actually just going to crack it right away. I'm hoping that they don't kill my Chieftain yet. That's kind of what I'm praying for. I think if I was them, I would definitely kill this here, just so that they know... I mean, they know that I have the Unearth, so they will, stop me from using the Unearth. And, yeah, that makes sense to me. Yep, returning a thing, that's fine. But see here, like, they brought back their Gurmag Angler, which is the play they had to make, but it's not even close to online anymore, and it's going to take them a minute for it to be online. So that's pretty good for me. And yeah, and now next turn I get to just start kind of going to town with Sling Gang. Which is, I mean, that's strong. I'm going to get to go Sling Gang plus Unearth the War Marshal. And then we have a lot going on. A lot of power in play. We're still at 19, which is strong. A Plague Engineer here would basically kill me. I don't think I can beat that. And they might have one. But, you know, you can't always beat all the cards. So if they have one, they have one. And that's what Game 3 will be for. But again, like I also have outs to it. Like I could draw Warren Weirding. I could draw Fatal Push. All these things would work to beat it. Thoughtseize. Okay, Thoughtseize is quite bad, actually. That is not what I wanted to see. It takes my Sling Gang, and I can't unearth the Sling Gang, so that's tough. That's pretty tough. But okay, they milled a Shadow. They still can't put Gurmag in play, though, which is fine. Now, I'm hoping to draw a spell here. I am going to pay for the Marshal, just because I don't have anything else going on, and using the Unearth here isn't great. I mean, it's fine, but I can also just do it later. I can also cycle it if I needed to. Okay, Warren Weirding's a pretty good draw. I actually think... And this is, I actually got paid off for this. Warren Weirding makes Goblins with haste, which looks weird. Also, like, they're gonna be able to play a Gurmag next turn, but they might have a stub. It's pretty unlikely they left stub in, but they might have a stub. And in that case, yeah, if they do have the stub, then they'd get to protect their Gurmag from the Warren Weirding. So I actually like this. It just, like, I get 2 hasty goblins, another goblin from the War Marshal. I can unearth the War Marshal. If they have the stub here, they're fine to do it. But yeah, I've just flooded the board really hard, and now basically the only out in their entire deck is exactly Plague Engineer. Which, again, if they have it, yeah, that's super bad for me. But I'm putting them at a, you know, they were down on resources. They didn't play it last turn, so presumably they don't have it. They're probably... And, like, they knew I had Sling Gang, so if they had it, they would have played it, because Sling Gang just gets, like, preemptively hosed by it. So they are basically in a spot where they have to just draw it right now. I guess they could have drawn it off the Thought Scour. But, you know, it's also not even clear that they have the card in their 75. It's pretty likely that they will, but it's not 100%. So, yeah. I think... You know, I think we made a wide enough board that Gurmag is not blocking what's happening here. I'm going to pay for the Marshal, so if they do kill the Marshal, I still have another 1/1 to block with. It's actually a very good chump blocker. First turn it comes into play. And, yeah, I think that's a really good example of why I have Warren Weirding in the sideboard. It's an edict effect that, you know, works against big creatures. I can tutor it up with Goblin Matron. I can get it with Goblin Ringleader. But in a spot like that where you're ahead and you just want to keep applying pressure, it kind of plays like a burn spell, but it's even better than that. It's like a bad Krankos command, I guess you would say. I guess... Yeah, that kept opponent alive. That did keep opponent alive. And if they have the TBR here, I'm kind of in trouble. I'm definitely going to pay. And Auntie's Hovel's not a good draw step. So if I attack and they have TBR, I die on the spot. Which is pretty tough. Let's see. If they just have fetch land, what happens to me? I don't want it to be bigger than 9, because that's where I stay alive at. Fetch land kills me. They didn't play fetch land last turn. This is tough. I think I'm just going to play a land and pass. The TBR is not lethal here. If they draw a TBR, it is lethal. Putting a shadow to 1 though just like guarantees that the shadow's lethal, if that makes sense. Street Wraith would exactly kill me based on how I'm gonna block, but if they don't have exactly Street Wraith here, I guess Dismember would also kill me based on how I'm gonna block. Okay, but they didn't attack, so it's not clear that they have the TBR. But I also have a lot of really good draws here. Another Warren Weirding's really strong. A Sling Gang Lieutenant just kills them. If I draw a Matron, I can tutor and cast Sling Gang, so Matron's lethal. I don't, like, I'm not going to have a way to use Push here. I think the 1 damage is going to be better served just getting a tap lane and thinning the deck. Thinning is pretty marginal, but in this type of spot where I just really want to draw something, I'm going to give myself the best chance. I think that's reasonable. And they're Sling Gang, so that's a GG. I think the patience paid off there because we didn't let them kill us with Battle Rage. Very good. Very, very good. And that's kind of why I played 3 Sling Gangs this game. Or this league, or this tournament, I guess. Alright, we're back for round 3. I am 2-0, currently sitting in 11th place, although like I said, early in a tournament, placing doesn't actually matter as much as the record, but we have a good record, so no complaints. We have won the die roll, which is nice. Good change of pace there. Ooh, double Thoughtseize hand with pain-free mana. I like this. We got the removal spell too. Would like to draw more goblins, but the deck has a lot of goblins. We'll draw some. We will draw some. Should be fine there. All right. Both of us on 7 cards, so let's get this rolling. I'm going to play my Hovel, reveal a Chieftain, and Thoughtseize the opponent. Okay. Oh, this works out really nicely for me. So we can take the Utopia Sprawl. They'll play the Arbor Elf. We can Tar Fire the Elf and then Thoughtseize either the Bloodbraid or the Pyromancer, depending on what they draw. And opponent's going to be in not a great spot. So they're playing Gruul aggro. And this is why Tarfire's in the deck, is to kill these guys, the little mana elves. Not a fan of them. Well, I like the card, but not a fan of letting my opponent have them in play, given any inclination to change that. I could take the Skoos here. It is one of the scarier cards. They're also pretty likely to be able to cast the Bloodbraid, and they're not super likely to be able to cast the Seasoned Pyromancer based on their mana situation. I think, given what opponent has, I want to take... I kind of just like making them not have a turn next turn so that this gets some damage in. They play the Seasoned Pyromancer and have to discard the Bloodbraid Elf. It gives them a 2/2 and a 1/1, but that's not all that good. And they're not even necessarily able to cast it. So I like making it so that they need to have a draw, like hit a draw step to even have a play before turn 4. So I think it's weird, but I am going to take the Scavenging Ooze. I think also the Scavenging Ooze could cause problems. And then we're going to Tar Fire the Elf. And now opponent is left with 4 cards. They have Forest, Windswept Heath, Seasoned Pyromancer, Bloodbraid Elf. And they play Forest, so they just definitely can't even cast Seasoned Pyromancer next turn. So that's good for us. That is good for us. Ooh, we drew the Vial. I could put the Vial in play here. I don't think it's going to help me all that much. Instead, I'm just going to play my Chieftain and get in for 2. I can cast anything I draw, basically, at this point. And I'll probably have mana to play the Vial next turn, so... playing more of a long game. But this is a good draw. It protects us against Magus of the Moon. If that... if opponent gets to that part of the game. Ooh, I like Harbinger. So here I'm going to shock. We're going to put the Vial in play to, protect against Blood Moon. Doesn't, like, protect, but it's pretty good. I'm going to put the Harbinger in play. Best tutor target here. I could get a Snoop, but the best tutor target here, I think by a decent amount, is going to be Ringleader. I just want to start refilling my hand, so I'm going to get that guy. Bash for 5. They might have drawn a Bolt. That's fine. They probably did, actually. No, they didn't. Okay, so we actually get to get in for 5. That's nice. It's pretty strong. Happy about that. And I think it's very likely here they'll hit the Bloodbraid. No. Missed the land. Interesting. Oh, well, if they have the land, they could still cast it. It's like a hasty thing. No? Okay, they didn't. So just the Seasoned Pyromancer. Pyro's going to be good for them here. Certainly not bad. Oh, discards Chandra and Glorybringer. I like that. And so now we know they have Bloodbraid Elf, one other card. That's what we know. Alright. Always yield to the Vial. I would like to use the ability, yes. In for that. And let's get my Ringleader in play. Would like to hit some Gobos here. That'd be quite nice. Okay, Matron plus Cratermaker. That is a pretty good 2 to hit there. We take those. So I can bash for a lot. I'm going to lose my Chieftain, which I don't love if I make an attack with it. But they don't have great blocks for my Ringleader. So I think sending the Ringleader in is pretty reasonable. Yeah, I really don't want to lose the Chieftain. I mean, they're going to Bloodbraid Elf next turn, so it seems likely that they're going to have, you know, something to do there. But this one, I think this is the best attack. This just trades with either 2 of the tokens or the Seasoned Pyromancer, which I don't love. This way they have to lose, 3 things to get it off the board, and that I'm fine with that. I can get another one next turn and just keep the chain rolling, if you will. My Chieftain's still in play. The token's pretty outclassed on the board, so it's not really doing anything. Yeah. And I drew 2 cards. I even have a Shock available for the Bloodbraid Elf if I choose not to block, which I don't think I will. I don't think I want to block here. We're hoping they hit... Oh, Seasoned Pyromancer is a really good one. That said, it does make them... It's not card advantage yet because they have to discard the other 2 cards in their hand, but it's still a really powerful play. If they have 2 spells, it's a lot on board. Okay, they had to discard a Bone Crusher, which I'm happy with. They only got 1 guy, which is fine. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to block here. I could block with the Harbinger, but I don't think it's a good spot to block. Alright, I'm going to yield to the Vial. I would like to use it. I want to put that in play. Alright, so I'm going to play I'm going to reveal Matron because I'm casting it. I don't know what I'm getting yet. I think the plan is just get another Ringleader. We just need to keep grinding here. I think that's the best play. I could also get a Snoop. Snoop's not bad. It puts opponent under a lot of pressure, but I think still Ringleader is just going to be the best. I like Ringleader. And... yeah. I'm not going to attack. Those trades aren't great. I get to use a Cratermaker this turn to soak up damage and kill the Bloodbraid Elf or the Seasoned Pyromancer if that's where I want to go. Opponent doesn't necessarily have that many good plays here. They might have a good play. Okay, another Bloodbraid Elf is a very good play. And to hit another Seasoned Pyromancer, that is kind of ridiculous. It's their 3rd Seasoned Pyromancer. And now this is actually card advantage. They did get rid of Clothis, which is somewhat annoying. I do think we're going to be able to grind with this, though, which is good. Alright, so here we're going to put in our Crater Man. Go Crater Man. I'm going to go to blocks, and I think I block here, say okay, and then shoot here. And opponent still has kind of a lot going on board. You know, they have more in their hand, but, you know, we still have good draws. Oh, Slinging is a very good draw. Alright, let's A Tarfire hit would also be really good here. I've used one of the Tarfires already, so I'm pretty unlikely to hit another one, but let's keep the value train running. I'd love to hit another Slinging, too. That'd be excellent. Any 3-drop? Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a really good hit. All right, good. Good, good, good. So now we have another Lord, too, to get in off the Vial, which is just great. And now opponent's blocks aren't very good. If I put the Lord in, which I don't think I'm supposed to do. I think I'm still supposed to play this defensive just based on how good my hand is. They get to make a lot of chumps there if I do make attacks. Also, I can give the Conspicuous Snoop haste. So, like, if Kiki Jiki's randomly on top of my library, that's really good for me. Okay. Scooz is good for the opponent, but if this is their whole turn, I'm just more than happy with that. That's fine. Yeah, they're not really interacting with my board. We have a removal spell and Munitions Expert. I get to Violin my Sling Gang. This is just very strong. Okay, so here's how we're going to start this turn. I'm going to play Snoop and see what's on top of my library. And then fetch if... Okay, yep, they're eating stuff. That's fine. That thing was going to get bigger no matter what. It was going to happen. Yeah. And the Scooz is starting to get pretty big. But, again, we can just kill that with the Munitions Expert. I'm actually going to say... I want to save the Munitions Expert for specifically Glorybringer, though. That's where I'd like to be. The Scooz isn't really doing all that much. Oh, well. You know, if that's the case, then, yeah. Let's just kill it now. Right off the top. Yep, that's good. Yep, this is for 7, so let's hit that. They could eat their Bone Crusher or their Clothis, but it will still die. Oh, they conceded. All right. Yeah, I mean, realistically, you know, my guys were huge. They're starting to fall behind. I'm going to get to put a Sling Gang in play. My attacks get really good. I have another removal spell. I get to shuffle and clear the top, so I'm not drawing land next turn. That was just a really good spot to be. I don't like Relics in this matchup. I do like Ringleader. This matchup ends up being quite grindy. I need to keep in all of my discard. Fatal Push is just okay, and I really don't like Worn Weirding this matchup. I do like the Unearth. Well, no, you know what? They have Scavenging Ooze and Clothis. Unearth is just okay. It's not great. It's fine. I think there's an argument to bring in Trashmaster just as a Lord. Like, it's just a good... just pumps the rest of my bodies. But I don't really want to go that far. I do think Push is pretty good. I would like a second removal, like 1-mana removal spell. But I also don't really want to bring in black spells. I don't think I can combo very likely. I'm definitely going to trim a Harbinger. Yeah, I would definitely like another push in the deck, but I don't really want to cut anything. I like my goblins more. Yeah, that's tough. No, I'm just going to submit. I think this is fine. Just bring in the Ringleader so I'm a little grindier. See how that goes. Again, the matchup doesn't feel bad. All right, this is good. We got Thought Seizes to start the game. We have our Swamp, so we're protected from moon effects. And we've got, you know, a good curve of 2-drop into 3-drops. So, yeah, I like how this is starting out. Oh, opponent doesn't even have a turn 1 play. That's really strong for us. I don't think you're supposed to keep hands in this deck that don't have a turn 1 play, but opponent has done so. I am going to get my Swamp. I want to just get that out of the way now so I don't get caught off guard and locked out of black mana for an entire game. Okay. Opponent's got some stuff going on here. I think this is a pretty easy just take the Bone Crusher Giant scenario. That's just going to be, you know, one of the best things they can do here. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to Thoughtseize again this turn. I think this is a pretty easy Thoughtseize. And Clothis is going to let them cast the other stuff. It's also one of the most annoying things for me. I'm going to take Clothis and just put this in play. we're just going to start slowly building, building up our mana. We're on the draw, so building mana's, just slow them down, build some mana up. It's not... Opponent didn't have more lands after the Heath. Yeah, so they have a Lightning Bolt, a Bloodbraid Elf, and a Chandra that we know about. I'm going to get a Blood Crypt tapped here. Again, if they'd moon the Blood Crypt, it's just more red mana anyway, which is what I want. I have my Black Source, which is what I needed. So that's good. So I could play Snoop here and get it bolted. I could leave up Munitions Expert. You can also just Tarfire the Bloodbraid Elf, which I am positive is what they're going to play if they drew that land. But I can't play Snoop and do that, and Snoop would die. I think this is the best turn to just play the Matron. I just want to get the Matron in play. If they bolt it, whatever. I'm totally fine trading a 1/1 for a bolt. Happy to do that. But here I just want to get a Ringleader. I'm going to need to start pressuring this Chandra that might come down next turn. If they minus, we can Tarfire it, so that's good. We can also just cast the Ringleader and attack. So I think they're pretty unlikely to minus if they have the land. And given that they didn't fetch there, I don't think it's a guarantee that they hit the land. Yeah, they didn't. So that's really strong for us. And now, okay, well, we know they have a Bolt. They didn't play anything, so it's extremely likely that their hand's either more removal. It's not lands, so they have 5 cards that are presumably not lands. They're 100% not lands. They just aren't. I do think here, though, I would like to keep my life total kind of high. I'm going to get another Mountain. We've got colors. Our colors are good, so I'm going to play this Ringleader. I do need to start worrying. Okay, well, Sling Gang's good. And we bottomed 4 cards that I didn't necessarily want to draw, so that's good. This is getting bolted. That's going to happen. Maybe Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher's totally... Oh, they didn't do that. Interesting. So they're just protecting against Snoop, presumably? Okay. Double green spell. Scoos. Okay, that's a good draw for opponent. When they go to fetch, not fetching here is pretty bad on their part, though, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to reveal Sling Gang and play Sling Gang. And I'm going to go to attacks with the Ringleader. And when they go to fetch to eat and block, I am going to Tarfire it. Yep, so opponent definitely should have fetched main phase and done it then if that's what they were going to do. They chose not to. That's a really big punt on their part. And now the Bolt gains me and drains them, which is just really strong. And I can now start shipping with the Matron, because I don't have to worry about blocking Bloodbraid Elf anymore. I mean, I'll still want to block the Bloodbraid Elf, right? But, it's not something I'm necessarily concerned about. Okay, so now they get to play the Elf. They might play Chandra here, too. All reasonable. Looks like they're making a 3-mana play, though. No, it is the Elf. Okay. They hit Utopia Sprawl. It's a good card for them, but I think opponent's just going to die this turn, honestly. I'm certainly going to take the 3. I get a... Yeah, I think opponent's just dead here. They take 3, 6, go to 7. I drain them for 7. Yeah, opponent's dead. Alright, so let's start with Snoop. Oh, free Munitions Expert. Nice. Boom. Got him. And opponent's dead. And that's an easy 2-0 win over Gruul. Yeah, Sling Gang just always overperforms. This is a card that doesn't look that good. It is part of the combo, but it just plays so much better than it looks. And honestly, that was something we found in Modern Masters draft, or Modern Horizons draft, excuse me. Playing Modern Horizons draft, Sling Gang was just the best uncommon in the entire set. Maybe the Ninja was better, but Sling Gang was kind of the mythic uncommon of the set. And it just never looks like it's that much. It's 3 1/1s, which is, gets outclassed, but it just puts opponents in awkward spots where it's really hard to race because of the fact that it gains life. The fact that it's a drain instead of a, just deal you 1 is such a big deal, and it's why this deck can get away with playing Thoughtseize in a deck, in a format full of Lightning Bolt decks, because, I can Thoughtseize and then just regain life later when I need to get into survival mode with Sling Gang. And I think, honestly, that's one of the things I'm happiest about with this build right now is I played 3 Sling Gang, and like I said earlier, it's kind of just been, you know, I've been jamming games, I've been trying out 1-0s here and there, and the 1-0s were all okay, but they were just very rarely better than just having another Sling Gang, because they always kill the first Sling Gang. I always want, you know, and usually the opponent will kill it on the stack, right? You play the Sling Gang with the triggers that make two 1/1 tokens trigger on the stack. They kill the Sling Gang, so I don't get more drains. And then if I play a second one, all of a sudden I have a drain you for 6, gain 6, and if I've done some chip damage, they're kind of just dead. So yeah, pretty happy with this. Alright, looks like we're in 11th place still going into the 4th round. Didn't go up, didn't go down. So yeah, still like where I'm sitting. But the priority is still to win. Nothing's changed about that. Just need to keep winning. That's just how MTG tournaments work. You just keep playing, keep trying to win. So we're going to try and do that. We'll see how it goes. Definitely some good players around here. Standerson sitting in 3rd place. It's Tommy Ashton. Great player. Got Ghoul Ducat right below me. He's doing pretty good. I think he's playing a deck he brewed up for the event too, which is really cool. Sandy Dog chilling at 3-0. Do not want to play against Sandy Dog. I got Aqualog, which kind of sounds like Sandy Dog, but is not that. Alright. Hand with Snoop, Matron, Tarfire, and a Kiki. I think I'm supposed to keep this. Would like a different turn 1 play, but honestly, this is fine. This is fine. I can play out Bloodstained Mire. Pass. If they play something I want to hit, I can just fetch a mountain and shock it. If they don't, we'll just play a Snoop on 2 and just get the value train rolling. You'll notice I want to save the Anti-Salvo to reveal the Snoop. I think that's pretty easy to play. Okay. Opponent played a Bloodstained Mire, so this could be a Goblin's Mirror. That is not out of the question. If it is a Goblin's Mirror, I don't really want to run a Snoop into a Tarfire, but it could also be Shadow, and they could just have a push, which, you know, certainly something to consider. But I do need to be casting my spells, so I am going to play out the Snoop here, and just it will probably die, and that's just part and parcel of the card. Yeah, we're actually getting dangerously close to not having the combo like even available to us. If we draw one more Kiki or one more Sling Gang, we will not be able to combo, which would be unfortunate. But yeah, I'm gonna run out the Snoop. Tarfire on top, that's not great. There's actually a chance I would upkeep it just so that I can try and draw a 4th land. But yeah, opponent has the Bolt, so they got Mountain and Bolt. That strikes me like they're playing could be like a burn list, like a prowess list. Weird that they didn't have a turn 1 play and kept 7. So it doesn't seem like prowess. Could also have been like just Jund. Makes sense to be Jund. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Very interesting. I'd like to get some more information here from the land they play. I think that'll tell us a lot. If this is Jund, I will feel stupid for running out Snoop. I would have rather held it. Okay. Steam Vet makes me think this is it prowess? Yeah, okay. Definitely is it prowess, which is a matchup I don't love. It's one of my deck's worst matchups, and Storming Entity's a problem, so that's tough. That one's going to be tough. Yeah. Well, I have my Sling Gang, which is good. I can also just Tarfire it twice, which honestly might just be the play. It gets blown out if they have like 2 gut shots, but I really don't want to let this thing sit on the table. I don't like. It's going to deal so much damage to me if I just play a thing and they kill it. So I'm going to do this now while they're tapped out. They need exactly 2 gut shots, which they could have, but I'm fine 2 for winning myself here. Oh, they had a mutagenic growth. Well, that hurts a lot. Definitely hurts a lot, but it saves me a decent amount of damage, so there is that. Yeah. I mean, this is specifically the reason I'm playing the Warren Weirdings is this card, and you'll like that. That's just a very clear example of why this is a tough card for this deck to beat. Yeah. That said, it does save me a decent amount of damage that they're using the mutagenic growth on their turn. And the Sling Gang is going to do a pretty nice job of keeping me in. We'll see, though. Sling Gang isn't great against this. Like, it is good against the deck. I like having it, but it gets gut-shotted or lava darted pretty often. So that is tough. What did they do with their scries? One bottom, one top. So presumably they're drawing something they like here. I could have saved the Tarfires for their 1-2 threats, you know, like a Swift Spear or, yeah, like a Swift Spear or Soulscar Mage. But again, like, it just never kills those anyway, so it sucks that I got, you know, 2 for 1 there by a mutagenic growth. But, you know, it is what happened. Okay, opponent hits Steam Vent and another Light Up the Stage. That is super bad for me. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, this deck, when it hits well off its Light Up the Stages, is really tough. And, I mean, that's what's happening here, right? They just drew 4 cards this turn. You know, for 2 mana. And played a threat, which is really annoying. It is what it is, though. Alright, opponent. Make a decision, please. We are casting a Light Up the Stage. I am shocked. Shocked, I tell you. If this hits 2 lands, that'd be awesome. Oh, Opt and Lava Dart. Well, that's just absolutely horrible for me. Instead of 2 lands, it hit 2 spells, and it's the actual best spell in my opponent's deck against me, so yeah, not great. Not great. War Marshal isn't great here, but I think it's the thing I need to play. It's just the most resilient thing to Lava Dart. Realistically, what they do is they Lava Dart the Goblin. I'm going to block the Swift Spear. They can Lava Dart the other half. So the card I drew for turn trades with that. But then they at least have to sack a Mountain, which isn't the worst for me. But yeah, this, like, you can just see the Storm Entity. It just attacks for 5, like, every turn. It's a really big problem for my deck. It's actually a reason I considered main decking the Warren Weirding just for this card. Just like a 1-of that I could have tutored for with Matron. But it's not a perfect answer, again, because of Swift Spear. Yeah. Tough spot. Would have very much liked to draw a land there. That would have been significantly better than War Marshal. So I could get the Sling Gang in play. But, you know, it is what it is. I did cut the 24th land for a War Marshal, so this is just karmic justice, just immediate getting punished for a decision. That said, I also cut one of the munitions experts for 1, so this could have been a munitions expert. It's like 50-50. I'm either punished or rewarded. Because munitions expert would have been awful here. Doesn't even kill the Swift Spear. Ooh, a Sprite Dragon. Well, if they don't have another land, this actually is really good for me. Getting the Lava Dart exiled, I like quite a bit. Very annoying that the Tarfire is gone now because it could kill that Sprite Dragon. But it is what it is. Bottom. Do we miss on land? Okay, like that. I do like that. I really need to draw a land this turn if I'm going to have any hope of winning this game. And even then, I don't like my odds, but I have to draw a land this turn or I'm dead. Land. Come on. Alright, Islet. It is a land. This isn't ideal, but it is a land. So, we're going to put the Sling Gang in play. I'm going down to 7, which again, not ideal. Was probably the worst land to draw there, but, you know, it is what it is. If my opponent has no spells in hand, I think I'll win if I draw land. That said, the odds of opponent having no spells in hand is not high. Very much not high. considering they missed that land drop. If their hand was like 4 Soulscar Mages in a land now, maybe I have a shot. Still probably no, but maybe. It could happen. We are kind of putting them in a little bit of an awkward spot. I mean, it's not that awkward for them, but it is a little awkward. I need them to like not have anything here, though. The flyers are just a huge problem, and opponent drawing 2 of them here is just really rough. I can block the ground creatures. Yeah, like a morph. Oh, another Sprite Dragon is beatable. I can beat that. This isn't good, but I could beat that. Okay, it doesn't necessarily look like they have a way to kill Sling Gang. They might. Doesn't necessarily look like they do, though. So now if they cast like an Opt here and whiff on a land, bolt me. Okay. So I'm going down to 4. So I need to gain 5, which means I have to sack my entire board. Which basically got rid of all of my outs. That's unfortunate. Yeah, this is really killing me. Because if I... No, yeah, this just wasn't going to matter anyway. Alright, well. I mean, I'm going to make the play I have, so... I go down to 5, and dead to any free spell too, but again, I mean, I don't have outs, or I don't have any other plays, so I'm going to make the one I have. Wait, no, I still am just dead, right? Yeah, I didn't math right. Yeah, alright, we're just dead. Alright, well, maybe math doesn't add. Yeah, I didn't math right. I was just dead anyway. Alright. Tough game. Tough game there against the opponent. They just drew all threats in 3 lands, which, I mean, it is something the deck does, but we get to bring in a lot of good stuff post-board. Yeah, Harbinger stinks. It's just never going to work. I don't like Tarfire. It's just okay. Kiki's pretty bad. I want to cut, I think, 2 Thoughtseizes. And then, I guess I'm happy with this. Again, it's not great. There's a chance I should have 1 Tarfire over a Crater Maker. I think I will do that. I don't love Tarfire, but there are spots where it can pick something off. It can hit the 1/1 flyer, which is good for me. Yeah, this is just overall a really tough matchup, honestly. It's the one, I was talking about this deck on the podcast this week, and I was saying this is the one matchup I'm scared of with this deck. It's the tough one. And I'm playing the extra Sling Gangs to have more game against it. It's still probably not enough, but it is more. It's more game than I had previously, so that's good. All right. This is a keep. Yeah, it's a keep. Somewhat of an awkward draw, but it's definitely a keep. It's a pretty easy turn 1 Vial, turn 2 play War Marshal. Yep, I'm going to name Goblin. Get my Vial in play. We'll pass. Sand's not great against a Braid, but I do get to keep the War Marshal in play here, which is good. That's certainly good for me. And now my Munitions Expert's going to at least hit for 3, which is, where you want it to be against, the Prowess creatures. Still no guarantee it kills them, because like we saw game 1, they have Mutagenic Growths, which are really, really good against my removal, but it is where we want to be. Alright, Aether Vial up. Ooh, Thoughtseize is really good. That's actually interesting. I could Thoughtseize here. I can also just Thoughtseize next turn. It costs a lot of life. Does cost a lot of life. I think I'm just going to play my Mog War Marshal here. I'd like to soak up the damage they have this turn, and if possible, prevent them from getting to use a light up the stage. I'd like to stop that this turn. That said, if they really want to use the light up the stage, they, can probably just like lava dart me and then use it, but it's pretty unlikely. What's more likely is that I just chump with my Mog War Marshal, which I will do if they, you know, give me the opportunity to do so. I will happily do it. But the Thoughtseize lets me take a Storming Entity. I'm paying a lot of life. I'm going to go down to 14 next turn, provided nothing else changes, which is awkward, certainly. But yeah, the Morphos, if this is a Storming Entity, that's really annoying. Can we not? Okay, it is a Storming Entity. The good news is I have the kill for it outside of multiple free spells. So that's good. That is good for me. I'm going to block here. Okay. Would like to draw a spell here. Oh, Snoop's a really good one. Alright. Let's start with the Thoughtseize. It's a lot of life to pay, but I think it's right. It just mostly invalidates opponent's board. Okay, they have the Mutagenic, and they have a K return, which is awful for me. Yeah, the K return's really bad. Well, this is a really good hand. I have to take the Mutagenic. My hand just is not beating that card right now. I would have loved to take the K return, certainly. But it is what it is. Alright, let's get the Storming Entity out of there while we can. And I'm going to bash for 2 because I'm losing these next turn anyway, so may as well. I will chump with Senor Munitions Expert. And I'm hoping they main phase this to get the extra damage with the Swift Spear in. That's what I'm hoping for. Then I can at least put in a Snoop end of turn and possibly get to cast some cards. Okay, they drew a Braid, which is absolutely atrocious for me. Yeah, I mean, that is just an unmitigated disaster. I need to take full advantage of this. Okay, Warren Weirding's good. That is good. Yeah, certainly it's not bad. And I know they drew a Braid, which makes me think that I'm actually supposed to just double block because this is their hand. They can't trigger it. I will trade a Snoop for a Munitions Expert. I'm fine with that, given the texture of the game. Or a Snoop for a Monastery Swift Spear. Given the texture of the game at the moment. Yep. Alright, now I get to slam the Warren Weirding. Make opponents sacrifice their creature. Again, I would have liked to save it, but I'm never really going to get a shot to do that. And so we're going to just start bashing. We're putting them in a spot where they kind of need to start. Like, they might need to cast the K return this turn. Like, a burn spell would be really annoying here if they got the Storming Entity first. I don't like that. I don't like that. I would like them. There's no reason for them to main phase it if they do go with the Kozilek's return, but I would like them to do it before my end of next turn because then I get to at least put my Sling Gang in play. Like, hopefully they do it on combat, save some damage. I mean, that's provided I draw the land, which I did. So if they do it combat, that's quite good for me. Yeah, and they're not going to, which I think is smart. I think it's smart on opponent's part. Yep. Got my guys cleaned up. But that's actually, I mean, that's not like a horrible trade for me, honestly. Okay, bolt me, play Storming Entity up. Makes sense. Makes the sense. Alright, I am going to crack the Fiery Islet this turn, which can really backfire because I want to play the Sling Gang this turn. So there's a chance I'm supposed to keep it, but it's going to keep dealing me damage. It's pretty likely that I draw a land in my next 2 draw steps. If it's... You know... Maybe I'm just not supposed to. It's really greedy. Yeah, I'm not going to. I need to just play this Sling Gang. Okay, we drew the land, so immediately punished for not cracking, but it's fine. I still don't have to crack, so that's fine. And now I get to put, you know, stuff on the board. I have drains if they go to kill anything, which is good. I've got a decent amount of power here. They're actually in a spot where they may need to play defensive. Depends on what they have. Morphos isn't suggesting defensive play, but if they draw some lands, which they should do at some point. Okay, another Storming Entity. So now, yeah. I mean, this is why this card's so powerful, too, is the Scry. Like, I'm hoping opponent draws lands, and instead they're just casting 3/3s that I just can't really do very much about, if we're being honest. I already used one of my Warren Weirdings, too, which is pretty awkward. Oh, Fatal Push. That looks strong here. Alright. Would really like to draw a Goblin. We didn't. Alright. Well, how do I win? How do I win? What do we do with the Scries? 2 on bottom. So, if I attack, I have to sack the one they block, which I'm going to. I'm going to have to do that anyway. They're just putting enough pressure on my life total here that I'm going to have to do this. So, I'm fine doing it. Getting in 2 points of damage here. Again, this isn't ideal, and I'm definitely dead to a bolt here. Dead to a lava dart here. Dead to a lot of things here. And they bottom 2, which are presumably lands. The good draws for me here would be like Sprite Dragon. Okay, Opt probably going to kill me. But top. Okay, I'm definitely dead. Alright, I mean, I'm going to sack. I'm dead to any spell. But if they play a creature here instead of a spell, I at least have outs. So we have outs. They top something. I don't know what. Matron kills them. I still have the 1 Tarfire. I have outs. Oh, just Wild Slash me. Alright, so they had the spell. I don't know why you wouldn't go for it during combat. That makes almost no sense. I guess they're playing around me having a removal spell. Yep, I mean, I can sack, put them to 2. But then I die to the Wild Slash, which is frustrating. Let's see what we would have drawn. War Marshal. War Marshal would have killed them if they had drawn creatures instead of burn spells, so that's unfortunate. Ugh. But it is what happened. I don't think the not sacking the land on that turn actually hurt me that much. The push just being dead against the Stormwing was just really bad. It's just part of... I mean, it's why that deck is playing Stormwing and why I'm considering it one of the best decks in the format, because the Stormwing just is like this flying prowess threat that almost essentially has hexproof against most of the removal spells in the format. And you saw it there. It was like better than hexproof. It tricked me into using 2 Tarfires game 1, which... maybe was a loose play, but you saw what happened when I didn't get it off the table. Because I didn't get it off the table, I was just in a really, really tough spot to them just attacking in the air, and I just have no defense to flyers. So, I mean, it is what it is. That's a tough loss to take. It's still kind of early in the event, so basically can't lose again, which is tough. And the prizes don't really pay out to anything, if we're being honest. So I need to just keep winning after this. But that is the deck's worst matchup. I'm very confident in my matchup against basically everything else in the format. So, it's Modern. You play your bad matchup, they draw well. Like, it was a prowess deck that was stuck on 3 lands, which is exactly, they have both their colors of mana and they don't draw a 4th land in either game. That's exactly what prowess wants to do. So they just had 2 good draws. You saw that game was close. The Abrade was really brutal. I think we were in a better shot if, they didn't have the Abrade for the Aether Vial there, but it is what it is. The push was awkward and kind of killed us, so I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have as many pushes. I'll have to keep working on that. But, just is what it is. All right, we're back. We've fallen from our 11th place spot down to 29th here, which, isn't great, but nothing's really changed. I just need to keep winning. That's just how these tournaments work. You just got to keep winning. Not a lot of people I know still 4-0. I know Spider Space. He's an absolutely very good player. Ghoul Ducat, another insanely good player. Aqualog beat me, and he's in first place, so he's helping out my tiebreakers at least. The rest of the people here don't, I know Dito Guidati is a very good player. I've played against him a few times online. Mostly famous for playing Shadow, from what I remember, but yeah. Again, great player. 3-1s are going to be loaded, though. A lot of good players. Sandy Dog still. Tommy Ashton. Gendrick, TSP Gendrick. Great control player. Yep, a lot of 3-1s, too. 3-1's going to be a very popular record at the moment. But yeah, I just need to keep winning. I mean, that's the long and short of it. I need to win this round, and we're going to focus on this game. I still like where I'm at. That last Blue-Red Prowess matchup was tough, obviously, and it didn't go my way, but, that's what it is sometimes. All right, can we win the die roll here? That'd be nice. Win the die roll, have an Aether Vial. We did win the die roll, that's nice. We're going to play first Aether Vial? No Aether Vial. This hand, though, is definitely a keep. I've got all my colors. I've got a turn 1 play. I've got a turn 2 play. Hopefully we draw a land. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to mulligan this. This hand is quite good. Got a good removal spell that actually works because of War Marshal, Matron, Chieftain. I like this hand. We are going to start the game at 16, but that's fine. Not concerned about it. And this looks like we're playing a fair game hand, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go Thoughtseize into War Marshal. Hopefully draw a land so I can just go Chieftain and start bashing. That's kind of what we're hoping for. But let's see what the opponent's playing. They kept 7. It looks like I am playing against... this is Red-Green again. Red-Green has recently adopted Maze Mind's Tome. They're going to be able to cast all their stuff. That said, I think this is an easy take Maze Mind's Tome spot here. I will be able to Munitions Expert the Skoos. They don't have a turn 1 play, so this is going to slow them down. If they drew a turn 1 play, that'd be really annoying, but if it's an elf, I might just Munitions Expert, honestly. Just kill it. Forest first. Of course, it's Utopia Sprawl. Yep. Well, that is annoying. It was a very good draw on the opponent's part. And we did not draw the land, which is annoying. I'm going to put my War Marshal in play. Hopefully they go Skoos here. Yeah, like a Magus of the Moon off the top would be pretty unfortunate for us. So hoping that's not the case. The Skoos, though, I can at least kill. And I probably will kill this turn. I think it's a reasonable play. They're going to jam the Bloodbraid Elf, but that's fine. I'm not paying Echo. No chance. Nope. But I get my 1/1. Land, please. Okay, that's a good land. It still might be best. No, you know what? I'm going to make the greedier play. I'm going to put my Chieftain in play. And now I have good blocks against the opponent. I know their hand is 2 lands, Bloodbraid Elf. So certainly a lot of things that could kill the Chieftain. But I at least can trade one of these tokens for a Bloodbraid Elf now, which is a trade I'm happy to make. And their Scavenger Ooze is going to start growing, but we still have the Munitions Expert, so not the end of the world there. Yep. I could also trade 2 tokens for the Skoos here, which might be the play I make, honestly. Depends on what they hit off this elf. We are hoping that it's not a lightning bolt. Okay, perfect. Yep, that's just about as bad as it could have gone. Not the end of the world, though. We're going to get to kill the ooze here. And we will. Alright, was much more hoping for a land. Did not hit. Which is unfortunate, certainly. But, again, not the end of the world. Get to kill the ooze. Yep. And I'm going to bash for 2. We're going to need to start racing here eventually. I know opponent has land and then 2 unknowns. So, hopefully there are more lands or Utopia Sprawls or elves. That's kind of what we're hoping for. They haven't had any other value plays yet. We took the Maze Mind's Tome, which, you know, as it played out, I think was a really good play. Oh, another elf is bad. And they hit another bolt. This is really ridiculous. Okay, well, good draws on the opponent's half. Now we're in a tough spot. That was about the worst case scenario. The only thing worse would have been Glorybringer, I think. But they also just... No, yeah, they had the land. Okay, so we don't know opponent's hand. Can't cast that, so that's really annoying. I think I need a munitions expert here. I think I need an expert here. I need to play defensively now. Now I'm just losing by quite a bit, so kind of stuck playing defense. I'm going to poke for 1. I'm not at least dead to a Bloodbraid Elf this way. I will... I mean, there's a lot of things here that just kill me. Like, I just am dead to Glorybringer at any point now. And I can't really beat that. Yeah, yep. Just keep hammering no 1-drops. Draw your 1-drop on turn 1. And then draw a Bloodbraid Elf into Glorybringer when it was really important. So, yeah, that worked out really well for the opponent there. That was a good draws on their behalf. But this is fine. Again, I don't really want to try comboing against them. I don't think it's going to work. I don't love Unearth. I do like having Fatal Pushes to get rid of the Scoozes. I think Tarfire is actually decent. I don't love Cratermaker here. I guess Cratermaker is not the worst given we saw Maze Mind's Tome. I think that's actually acceptable. I'll go down to Tarfire. Tarfire's just okay. It's fine, but not, like, great. I'm gonna, no, you know what? I'm going to go no Fatal Pushes. I'm going to keep the Tarfire. Just to play around Blood Moon. I have to respect Blood Moon in this deck. I only have 1 Swamp. You know, it's going to die some percentage of the time. Yeah. Okay, 1 land Aether Vial hand, and we can't cast the Inquisition. That said, it is a good hand. So I think I'm supposed to keep it and hope I draw a land. If opponent has a Braids or anything like that, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. But this hand is just too good in terms of cards I'm looking for. And if I draw a land, the hand's just actually awesome. So we'll see what comes of this. I could get pretty punished here, certainly. But Aether Vial on the play is one of my best cards in the matchup. It's one of the things that protects me from Blood Moon. So, yeah. Hoping to draw a land here. Well, it's not necessarily the land I wanted, but it does play. It does play. In that I get to cast my spells. I will be paying for the War Marshal here. I want it to be tough for them to grind through my creatures. That is something I'm interested in. Wow. Opponent has 4 mana on turn 2. Yeah, Bloodbraid here would be really annoying. Oh, Blood Moon. Alright, well, this is why we kept the Aether Vial, was specifically because this works. And yeah, I can't crack my eyelet, but I don't have to pay life for it, so that is good. And we drew the Swamp. Look at that! Look at that! Best draw in the entire deck! Wow. Okay, so they have a really powerful hand here. That is just the case. But I got rid of their bolt, which is good for me, certainly. I'm going to get to bash here. I mean, the way we're going to have to play this is we're going to have to race. That's just how this is going to work. I would love for this Bloodbraid to not hit a Shatter effect. That would be really strong. They might Glorybringer here. Glorybringer, it does do damage, but it's not actually the best play here. It's just fine. I mean, I'm going to have to race it, but Sling does a fantastic job racing the card. So, yeah. I mean, I like where we're at. I'm a fan of where we're at in this game. Alright, so now the question is, am I paying for the War Marshal? And I think the answer to this one is going to be no. Oh no! Crap! Alright, well now I'm definitely not paying. I wanted to take that up. That might cost me this match. Yeah, that is really painful. That said, I can still get a munitions expert, and I will be able to kill the Glorybringer here, which is good. Oh, man, that hurts a lot. That was really not what we wanted to do, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm going to do this now while it just for sure kills the Glorybringer. I would like to use the ability, and we're going to bash for 3. So, the Aether Vial play there really, I mean, that hurts, but this is the thing in Magic. In Paper especially, you have to make a lot of decisions. Sometimes you mess up. That's not something I would mess up in Paper generally ever. But it does happen. You're going to mess up some stuff on occasion. And when you do, it's really important to just try to recover from it, you know? Maze Mind's Tome's a good draw for opponent, but they're in a tough spot here, honestly. I do not envy opponent's position. I don't really understand that. I would have drawn a card there. I guess that means they just have another play. Which is fine. Alright, and they're playing defensive, which makes sense. Okay, we're going to say yes this time, which is what we meant to do last time. Cratermaker's a little awkward. But I do get to kill the Maze Mind's Tome before they get real value out of it, so it's not terrible. And I think I'm going to do that. I just want to get this off the board. Not like, you know, they got a scry out of it, and that's fine, but they're not going to get to just draw a card every turn. It's not going to gain them life. And now they're going to be in a really tough spot against Sling Gang next turn. And especially if I draw a land. If I draw a land next turn, I get to go 2 Sling Gangs, and I think they just die. Yeah. I believe I am supposed to, let's see, 4 puts them to 7. Yeah, I am supposed to just bash. I want to make sure I don't just die, so I'm going to leave back the War Marshal as a blocker. But yeah, they go to 7 here, and now they're dead to me taking a Vial next turn. So, again, we would have killed them this turn if we hadn't screwed up the Vial play, but that's fine. That happens some amount of games. And yeah, I mean, opponent's still just dead to the Vial. These Sling Gangs themselves are basically going to kill them. Seems extremely unlikely that they have outs to 2 Sling Gangs. But they might. You never know. Land here would just be fantastic, though. Yeah, and here, I mean, they're bone-crushing tokens because that's just the spot they're in. And they need to do it, but yeah, I mean, the Sling Gang is going to be too much. So, land here is lethal. Almost assuredly. Even not hitting a land would be okay. I mean, it's just going to make me kill them a turn later. I don't think there's too many draws they can have to get out of this. Alright, well now they have to top deck to get out of this. And the Sling Gang is going to live. Okay, so yeah, they had a bunch of spot removal. Oh, I should have vialed in Sling Gang in response. That is definitely the case. I didn't, but that's fine. So yeah, we're just gonna wait here. Opponent has no attacks at all. I mean, they can attack, but then they're dead on the crackback. Yeah. And yep, now we say no to the Vial. No. And I'm gonna activate the Vial. And put in Sling Gang Lieutenant. And that's the game. Alright, game 3. Yeah. Again, I'm going to prioritize hands with vials. Opponent is really removal heavy. That's what they're trying to do. And that's not really a very good strategy, if we're being honest, against this deck. You don't want to be super removal heavy. I think there is an argument for me bringing in Trashmaster and abandoning the combo just based on how removal heavy they were. Trashmaster as just a... It dies to Bolt, which is awkward. Glorybringer, Chandra minus, all awkward. But opponent has Bone Crusher Giant, which doesn't kill it. And it's just a lot of power. I just think Harbinger's really bad. It's also a red spell over a black spell, which is small, but I think worth going considering we saw Blood Moon. I'm going to make the play. It's also possible it's just better than a Kiki. You know what, maybe that's where we go. Shoot. All right. Well, we already submitted. I think what I should have done was just cut down a Kiki and left in one Harbinger. But that's fine. Okay. This hand's not great, but it has 2 Aether Vials, which could be too slow on the draw, depending on opponent's hand, certainly. But opponent doesn't have a turn 1 play, which makes leading on Aether Vial about the best thing I can do. I don't really like... Ooh, now I have Thoughtseize. That's interesting, too. So I am still going to save Thoughtseize for one of the more impactful draws. I think that's just a better way to go about this. So I'm going to put in Anti-Salvo, reveal Chieftain, and I really, like, you really want to get the Aether Vials ticking up. I mean, that's the position I'm in. I want to get these ticking up. I know opponent can't Blood Moon this turn, so I'm at least going to have Black Mana next turn, which is, you know, kind of what I'm looking for here. And I want to get both Vials in play, because now I'm going to be able to ring lead a couple times, which, you know, is exactly where we want to go. I'm kind of hoping for Maze Mind Stone here. It is a recurring source of value. Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, so now they can cast, like, a Bloodbraid Elf next turn, and I feel like I'm positive that they have a Bloodbraid Elf based on how they've played this, that they kept this hand, and then they also almost for sure have a Bolt. I would be shocked if their hand didn't have a Lightning Bolt in it. Absolutely stunned. Ooh, Snoop is a very good draw. So let's lead on Thoughtseize. See what the opponent's working with. Ooh, the Veil of Summer. Well, they're gonna Blood Moon me. That's gonna happen. I don't really care about the Veil of Summer though. It's not gonna be very good against me. It's gonna stop Harbinger or Munitions Expert, I guess. I mean, this is what they wanted it for, was this Thoughtseize. I think the way I'm supposed to play this is just stop. And they also didn't have the Bolt, which I think is really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I want to let them just cast a Blood Moon. And then... yeah, that's fine with me. So I think I'm going to take the Bone Crusher. The Clothis isn't super close to being on. That's their spot removal, so they only really are working with... yeah, they're only really working with Anger now. I am assuming there's a Blood Moon coming down this turn. If I was opponent, that's where I would go. They could play Clothis, which, you know, Clothis is a fine play here, but it takes a while to get going. The drain against me is not good, and Blood Moon is just really bad in the face of 2 Aether Vials. It's going to shut off exactly... I don't know. Shuts off the 4 discard spells left in my deck. Which is, you know, fine. I would like to say yes to both of these. That is ideal. Okay, Sling Gang is a very good draw. Let's start by putting a Snoop in play. Okay, we're drawing another Sling Gang. That's a very good draw. I can't cast it. I'm going to put this into play tapped. And honestly, if they play a Blood Moon here, I am going to sack the Fiery Islet. I think that's just the right place to go. I guess Veil of Summer actually kind of does protect against Sling Gang, but it only stops like really one activation, because like you can go one at a time. So it's not like a actually good answer to Sling Gang. It's just something that kind of does work, if that makes sense. Anger. Okay, well this is actually a really sweet play. So I get to sack this to deal 1 damage to them, and I'm going to. Yep. So is it worth sacking the islet here? I think that it is. Drawing another land here would be good. Drawing a 2-drop here would be good. It's obviously awkward. I can't use the 4 yet, but I mean, these vials are going to keep ticking up, and I'll be able to start putting Sling Gangs in like crazy pretty soon. Alright, Aether Vial in. So we know they use their Anger. They have a Veil of Summer, Blood Moon, and 2 cards I don't know about. They're also definitely not lands based on how opponent has played. I am just going to pass. The 2 damage here likely won't matter that much. It could matter. It certainly could matter. But opponents can have a really hard time grinding through multiple Sling Gangs. We have a ton of mana from Aether Vials happening here. So I like where we're at. Oh, no. Oh, big oh, no. Well, all of a sudden, things have changed. That card is horrible for us. Yeah. Now, very upset I sacked the thing. We definitely have outs, but this Blood Moon here is going to be bad when it happens. Yeah, that is a disaster. Right before all my stuff was coming down. Oh, boy. And we drew the 4th Sling Gang. That is tough. Well, I believe I'm supposed to bash. Oh, man. It didn't look like opponent had really anything, and that oof just ends the game, I think. Holy cow, that's bad for me. If we can ever kill the oof, we're in a really good spot, but, you know, I just have 2 Tarfires. A Matron would get me out of it, but I need to draw like Matron plus land. Yeah, this Aether Vial draw is going to have really hurt. That's just the reality of the situation here. Yeah, that's tough. Oof indeed. Oof indeed. Opponent's not attacking with oof, which I think is kind of strange, but I guess they're playing around Munitions Expert, maybe? I don't know. Also not playing Blood Moon there, I find a bit odd. This one I would like to use. The other ones I'm going to say no to. Alright, well now Munitions Expert kind of saves me. Okay. Blood Crypt isn't spectacular, but it's also not terrible. I mean, if they want to trade the oof for my Chieftain, I am happy to make that trade. I don't think they will, but if they wanted to, again, would happily do so. Opponent has shown an unwillingness to play the Blood Moon, which is odd to me. I would have slammed the Blood Moon just to lock me out of colors. But now any land lets me cast Ringleader. I can also just start playing Sling Gangs, which will be fine. I'm going to say no across the board on these. Okay, Hovel's good. Hovel's very good. I'm going to reveal Sling Gang and play it. If I don't find an answer to this, it's too important for me to just get some of these Sling Gangs out of my hand. If they play a Blood Moon, I'm going to be able to ring lead. So, not particularly scared of that. Yeah. Now, opponent has been stuck on mana and has many things they could play this turn. Klothys doesn't make mana anymore, which is good for me. Certainly that's good for me. The annoying thing is they have a lot more mana now. This elf was very good for them. But we're threatening some really big attacks. Like, if they don't Blood Moon this turn, I mean, we have some really, really strong attacks next turn with playing multiple Sling Gangs. And there are certainly some things they could play here that would be really bad for me. Like, you know, a Bloodbraid Elf into a Bolt hitting the Chieftain would be tough. But an Anger of the Gods, you know, something we've already seen. Not actually scared of that because it kills the Oof, which I would just be totally okay with. Oof is a weird one. It's not one we've really seen recently. They hit another Arbor Elf. Went through a lot of stuff there. Okay. Arbor Elf is good, certainly. But definitely beatable. Ooh, Clothis is on. Okay. Yep. I don't know. I don't really love this attack from opponent. Certainly something you can make. I mean, I'm gonna block and drain. I think that's a pretty easy play. Okay, so still any way to kill this oof would be absolutely insane. I'm gonna go up to 4 and 4 here. That looks weird, but I think that's right. I'm gonna go 4, 4, 3. So this one up. Yep. This one up. Yep. That one up. No. Inquisition. I don't think I can afford to play that. I'm just going to keep playing Sling Gangs. We're just putting a lot of power in play, which is a good place to be. Lot of power. It all has haste, which is very strong. I like doing this. Make this attack. Opponent doesn't have necessarily very good blocks here. They have okay blocks. But this is 8 damage coming in. I assume, yeah, Bloodbraid on Sling Gang makes a lot of sense. I still get in for 6. I still have another Sling Gang. We can ring lead at some point. We know opponent has Veil of Summer, Blood Moon. I feel like they're leaving up Veil of Summer. That's kind of what I feel like is happening. But, I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Seasoned Pyromancer. So still not going for the Blood Moon, which I still think is weird. I think that's a strange play. And they discarded the Blood Moon. So they're just letting me stay in this game, which I don't really agree with. Yeah, removal spell here would be kind of tough. Man, they have a lot of mana here. A Glorybringer would definitely. Obstinate Baloth. Okay. That's definitely good for the opponent, but it's by no means game-winning. So opponent still has Veil of Summer in a card I don't know. And that's just where we're at in this game. That's fine. Alright, so these are all just going to be no's. Tarfire. That was a really good draw. Alright. I guess they were leaving up Veil to protect from Munitions Expert, which makes sense, but yeah, now the game has changed. Now the game has changed. Alright. Let's lead with a Ringleader. Alright, if this could hit, that would be insane. Hit some stuff, please. A Matron. Okay. It's not an insane hit, but it works. It works. Whew. So what's the best get here? I think, alright, I need to do some math. So, we know opponent has Veil of Summer. I can have 2, 4, 10, 12, 15, plus 6 is 21 power attacking. They have 4 blockers. And then a bunch of drains. And, yeah, this has to just be lethal. There's no way it's not. So, I'm going to get the other Chieftain. I'm going to activate my Vial. Yep. And now, even through a removal spell, I believe opponent dies. They waited too long. They could have locked me out for a long time, but they let me draw into my Tarfire, and that's going to do it. Way too much damage coming in now. Given that I know they have Veil of Summer, yeah, they're just, I mean, this is it. Okay, so this block just leaves them dead. Okay. I'll pass priority. Casting Veil of Summer. Still just dead. Anything? Nothing? What do we got? Damage? Alright. You took, I think they were at 17. They just took 24 damage from a board that didn't look like that much. And I had Sling Gang drains. Like, obviously, I couldn't do it that turn, but I just passed the upkeep and just drained. I mean, I could have drained for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. So we could have put them, I mean, we could have done 34 damage there. I also could have drained with that one in response, which would have been fine, but, you know, no need to when they're dead anyway. So that's a good win. That's a good win. That oof looked really bad. We drew our Tarfire. It saved us. So got a little lucky there, certainly. But you need to get lucky to win big events. You have to, you know, you have to have some luck on your side at some points. And that's kind of the reality of playing Magic events, is that really good players can do consistently well, but for them to actually win in top 8, they need some luck on their side. And, you know, that's kind of just how, realistically, that's a lot of like how my career has played out in events is, you know, I'll have a top 16, a top 32 here, maybe a top 64, something like that. And then I'll have one event where I get lucky and I top 8. You know, and that's just how it happens. And sometimes you get really unlucky and you don't make day 2, or you just go 0-3 and drop. And that's also part of the range of playing Magic events. It just happens sometimes. So, you know, not a big deal either way. You just kind of have to roll with the punches. And the real thing is just, you know, you want to just enjoy the games you're playing and have fun. And I thought that was a really fun game, so that was cool. All right, we're back going into round 6. I have jumped up to 23rd place, but yeah, still just got to win. That's the reality. Yeah, looking back at that last game, opponent didn't play Blood Moon when it looks like they could have, and I still feel like that maybe changed the game. Yeah, they let me cast a lot of Sling Gangs, but I will also say that ignoring that fact, you really saw the changes I made to the deck list pay off there. And like I said before, I was playing a bunch of one-ofs like, you know, Pashlik Mons, Goblin Chain Whirler. I had a Frog Tosser Banneret for a second. Yeah, so I had a bunch of these situational one-ofs, and you really saw the difference there of having multiple Sling Gangs, 3. I used all 3, and 2 Goblin Chieftain. And the Chieftains are really what made that lethal there, just being able to tutor it up with Matron, put it in play. Yeah, I mean, that win was thanks to those, you know, those changes specifically. I mean, I maybe could have won without, you know, the 3rd Sling Gang or whatever, but, you know, having 2 Chieftains there I do think was quite big. So, yeah, I don't know. I liked it. Deck felt strong, but on to the next round. Let's see what we got here. Would very much like to avoid the Blue-Red Prowess deck. It's the only thing I'm really scared of. I mean, any deck with Plague Engineer is also terrifying, but the Blue-Red Prowess deck is scary deck number 1. And then it's Plague Engineer decks. And then everything else I generally feel good about. Sweeper-heavy blue-white decks can be kind of scary, but we get Boil for those matchups, which is just an insane sideboard card, so we'll see. Playing against Chaffee. I do not know this person. I don't believe I'm pronouncing their name correctly. I'm just going to refer to them as opponent for the rest of this game, and we'll see what they're on. I did lose this die roll. You know, we started at 0-2. We've won our last 3, so certainly can't complain about bad luck there. But this deck doesn't mind being on the draw. It prefers to have Aether Vial in any hand it's on the draw, but you could kind of say that about every hand the deck has. It just wants an Aether Vial in it, so we'll see. Okay, no Aether Vial, but we have a turn 3 kill with a turn 1 Thoughtseize. I think you have to keep this hand. This is why this deck's playing. Opponent's on 5, so it does seem like they could be playing Tron. Something like that. I mean, this is just an easy Thoughtseize, take your interaction, play Snoop, play Harbinger, that's it. Okay, Scalding Tarn. I would have guessed Tron. This is not Tron. This is very much not Tron. Scalding Tarn makes me nervous. Okay, Hallowed Fountain, never mind. Hallowed Fountain's very doable. Delver of Secrets, what? So Jeskai Delver, presumably? Very interesting. I am going to shock here. I think that's maybe a weird decision, but I think it's fine. Okay, so they have 2 cantrips and a path. I'm definitely taking the path. Again, opponent's dead on turn 3 if they don't find more interaction. They might. They certainly could. If they draw a spell here, we're going to get to see what it is, too, which is nice. Delver giving away some free info. Probably drew a land or another creature there, then, if it wasn't a spell. So they cast their Serum Visions. That's fine. So presumably this is going to set up the Delver to flip next turn. But again, if they don't find a kill spell, the game's just over. So see what happens. They did draw land, so maybe the Delver doesn't flip. We know their hand is Sleight of Hand land, so not too scared of what's happening here. I'm going to play Cavern of Souls in case they have Spell Snare. We're going to play Mr. Snoop Main. I would really like to not reveal Bogart Harbinger to give them any inclination that combo is coming. I would like to avoid that. So yeah, they didn't fetch. I'm assuming this is flipping. If it didn't flip to a removal spell, that'd be great. Revealed Force Negation. That doesn't do anything. Okay, well, they're fetching ahead of time. That makes sense. Really hoping they would draw Force there. They didn't. So we got 3 cards. Force Negation is not one of them. They're casting the Slight. Again, they need to find removal spell or the game's done. Okay. They have not played a removal spell yet. I mean, given that, I'm going for it. If they get me, they get me. But, you know, I don't know that I'll get a much better spot for this, so here we go. Alright. Let's put... Okay, they just conceded. Alright. Turn 3 combo win. Thought Season to kill you. And that's exactly what you want to see from this. I do think we should assume this is another Stormwing Entity deck. I think that's a fair assumption. Given all that, I like... The Tarfire seem a lot better when they're playing Delver. It is always going to die to a Tarfire, which is nice. I like the Warren Weirdings for assuming Tarfire. I'm going to go down on Harbingers. I think opponent is going to be somewhat scared of them. I like Ringleader. I'm kind of Kiki against the Path Bolt deck. Don't love it. It's fine. Having 1 is still good, but I like trimming combo pieces and going for like fair beatdown cards. You know what I mean? How do I feel about Fatal Push? I didn't really see anything else. This is somewhat tough. I think this deck looks somewhat aggressive. I'm going to cut that. There's a chance I'm supposed to have Boil in. I would 100% believe you if you told me I needed Boil in. But I don't really like Boil against really aggressive decks. I certainly could hit all their lands. That could happen. It would be very game-breaking. But, you know. Okay, we have the Aether Vial. That's a good start. Opponent's on a mulligan again. I mean, yeah, I would believe that Boil is good in this matchup, but on the draw against the deck that played Delver of Secrets, we saw Force Negation. I think it's just going to be better to just try and tax their removal and try and race with Sling Gangs and the 1/1 beats. So that's where I'm going to go here. I'm hoping this is a Serum Visions and not a Delver. Okay. Fine with that. They're going to be setting up. That's fine. Yeah, totally okay with that. Hopefully they don't have a Force Negation. It's weird to leave Force Negation against Goblins. Oh, we drew another Vial, so no harm, no foul there. I am just going to fetch a Mountain. Against a Path to Exile deck, you wouldn't necessarily do that all the time, but the way the hand is shaping out, I can go Vial into Vial, fetch Blood Crypt, so I'm going to have all my colors. I'm going to get both Vials in play. Pretty happy with that. Now I need to be scared of Engineered Explosives, but that's not something Delver decks necessarily always play, so more concerning would be a Braid. But we have the second Vial already, so if they have it, they have it. Ooh, Sling Gang is a very good draw. So if these, well, I mean, I already had one, but if these Vials stick in play, I don't see opponent beating this hand. It's going to be very strong against them. They also just haven't really done anything yet. I mean, they certainly could do something here that's really powerful. Like a Teferi would be pretty annoying if they just tap out here and bounce my Vial. Stoneforge Mystic, okay. Stoneforge Mystic is good. Definitely a good card, but not something I'm overly concerned with, if that makes sense. Yep, that's a Batter Skull. I can beat that. Sling Gang is very good against it. I have Crater Maker that I can actually like do at instant speed by getting this up to 3, this up to 2, play Matron, get Crater Maker, Vile Crater Maker in, and blow up Batterskull, like when they activate next turn. And I very much doubt they'll do it main phase, because Stoneforge Mystic players don't usually do that. They usually wait until my end step to see if they need to counter anything first. Oh, or we could just draw Crater Maker. That works too. That works too. So now if they do it main phase, then we're just in a great spot. And this is actually better, because now I get to use the Matron to go get something for value, you know? Okay, so definitely, I mean, this one's going to be on 2, so just absolutely no reason to reveal that I have the Crater Maker. I'm not viling it in, exposing it to a removal spell. Not interested in that in the slightest. I am going to hard cast Matron here, which might look weird given I could vial it in. I could have also just vialed for something else. That would have been fine. But now I can vial something later. And honestly, I might just be getting another Matron here. That seems like a totally fine place to go. I don't hate just getting a Munitions Expert, though. I have so much value goblins in my hand. But getting another Matron just kind of frees me up. It just puts free resources on the board. I'm going to go with the Matron. Just chain Matrons. I think that's just totally reasonable. I did put myself in a spot where I can't use Crater Maker here, which is a little annoying. But certainly not the end of the world. Certainly not the end of the world. I'll find another spot to be able to do this, so... I mean, this is presuming that I never, like, opponent never taps out again. That I won't be able to kill Batterskull. And they just... It's not even like they can't tap out, it's just they can't tap below 3 mana, if that makes sense. What do I want to do here? I'm thinking I activate Matron, or put in this Matron. I'm going to go for the double block, the Stoneforge. If that prompts them to use a removal spell on a Matron, I'm fine with that. They've both already drawn a card. What's the get here? I think now I'm supposed to just start ringleadering. That is my take. Yep, so Stoneforge down. They gained 4, dealt 4 to me. That's fine. I'm not overly concerned about my life total. I am going to put Crater Maker in here, which could maybe be wrong. I would believe if you told me it's wrong, but also I'm taking these vials up, so I think this is fine. It might have just been a big punish to just cast that first Matron, but it could also not be. We'll find out. Yeah, we're definitely going to tick up both. Ooh, the anti-salvo is quite good. So I want to start with Ringleader. I want to see what I hit. I got just an absolutely loaded hand. Let's see what we got cracking. Oh my gosh, we hit everything. This is awesome. I mean, we are in an absolutely insane spot here. I'm going to reveal Snoop and play Snoop. Okay, drawing land. That's totally cool. No 3-drop, which, I mean, you know, I would have preferred to hit a 3-drop there, but also just absolutely, you know, beggars aren't going to be choosers here. This is fine. Opponent's in a really tough spot. I've got a loaded hand. I'm up on cards. I'm up on board. I've got way up on mana. I've got a bunch of engine pieces. Path Snoop. Sure. We got another one. And I guess I get black here. Not really a huge reason not to. Yeah, they're going to attack. This is actually insane for me. Even if they return Batterskull, I'm just so fine with that I just don't mind. So I'm going to block with Crater Maker. And then I'm going to sack it to destroy the Batterskull. And I assume they're going to bounce it. No, they just let it happen. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, again, opponent's going to need a lot to beat what's on board here. Maybe like a Mystic Sanctuary Cryptic Lock could do it. I still doubt that. The first one I would like to use. The second one I will not. No. Okay, I drew a tap land. That's fine. Let's start with a Snoop. See if we got anything interesting. Okay, Warren Weirding. I don't really want to draw it. I think it's fine to just target me. Get some hasty gobos. Sacrifice the matron. And now I think it's a good time to put in the ringleader. Yep. So I don't really want to draw this third Aether Vial. Alright, we got another Crater Maker. That's fine. Got the bottom 3 cards we didn't really want. Ooh, Tarfire on top too is really nice. Gonna be able to cast that. Yeah, and even though opponent gained 4 at one point, they are so far on the back foot here that I don't really see how they get out of it. The only thing I can think of is Wraths plus Cryptics, but in a Delver deck, that's a lot less likely than some of the other decks, so we'll see where this goes. But yeah, I mean, I have, opponent's just not doing anything. We are just filling up our hand and doing something every turn, so it's just, it feels to me like opponent's in a really tough spot. They're fetching main phase here, which is interesting. Maybe this is a Wrath. No, just a sleight of hand. Okay, I guess that makes sense. They're probably digging for a sleight, maybe a Cryptic. A Cryptic. I mean, they need a Wrath or a Cryptic, or they're just too far behind to do anything realistically. Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, playing Stoneforge into a Tarfire, not great. Not great. Sword of Fire and Ice. I mean, that would certainly be good against me. No argument. I'm going to Tarfire this thing, though. And then let's put a Sling Man in play. Alright. I'm going to tick up 1 vial and not the other so I can use Kiki. Alright, they just conceded. And that makes sense. They're dead on board. There's nothing at 2 mana that gets them out. Maybe a Helix can kind of save them, but I can fizzle it with the Sling Gang. It's just, no. And Kiki plus another Sling Gang. I mean, I had 8 drains on board, plus an attack for 11, plus a Kiki to copy another Sling Gang and get 2 more, plus a War Marshal, which is a drain for 3. There just was no way. Just no way. And that's why Goblins is good. That's a perfect example of what the deck does. Game 1, I comboed the opponent. They lived in fear. And you saw that. They could have killed... They had a spot where they could have killed the Crater Maker that killed their Batterskull. And they killed a Snoop instead. Because they are playing around the combo. They're playing around how good it is as a value engine. And they probably have to do that. Based on the context of their hand, they probably had to do that. But then, what happens is, when they do that, now all of a sudden I'm just... ringleadering every turn, Sling Ganging, just flooding the board, Snoop getting more value, and casting Tarfires and Warren Weirdings off the top of my deck. Like, that was a perfect example of how strong this deck can be.